process unit went as peaceful as expected.
Came and asked for a particular certain number of voters' ballot paper, which was given to him. And after he was done voting, he wrapped everything together, which I was looking at him when he was doing so. He wrapped everything in the wrong code. We saw that, okay, lo and behold, it is the way it was wrapped together. So we picked it out, and then we counted the remaining number of votes, and it correlated with our accredited vote, number of votes. So,
lots of issues developing in Oyo State governorship and state assembly election, and I still have with me the State Commissioner of Police, Shino Olukolu, who is telling us more about the development. Now that we have seen what has happened, and we are now saying that we're looking forward to the collation of results and equally to arrest of the culprits involved in Olayotoye Sugar's murder. What is your message to the family and the people of Oyo State?
So the family of the deceased, I want to seize the opportunity to comment. We acknowledge the fact that it was a big loss, but we also want to appeal to them to take it as they wish, the will of God, and we promise, and that is our pledge, that the suspects, the fleeing suspects, will be arrested, no matter how long it takes.
CP, there are these allegations that security officials are actually part of those perpetrating some of this ballot box snatching and also electoral violence, to an extent that they also allege that some of the security officials will get to a particular polling unit. Before you know what's happening, they will dismantle the place, disrupt the place, and carry the ballot box and all other things on printed papers in that place. What do you have to say about this?
I want to say categorically that there was nothing like that. There was nothing of such nature. No security man is involved in any attempt or actual snatching of ballot boxes anywhere. However, there was a particular vehicle that moved from somewhere to Ibom, and it was alleged that the occupants attempted to pick ballot boxes from a particular unit. They were dissuaded, they were prevented, they were arrested. The ballot boxes, 6 were recovered, and voting continued. On the search of the vehicle, the 6 occupants were arrested. A rifle was recovered. They know what their responsibilities are. If anyone goes out beyond this brief, then he should be ready to face the consequences of his actions.
So if you are to appraise the presidential election and equally to the last governorship election, which took place yesterday, how would you describe everything in terms of security?
The security apparently was okay, because in any human endeavor there are challenges, and such challenges arose yesterday, but we were able to overcome them. And I want to tell the people that since there are challenges in every human endeavor, the need is to improve upon what you have. And that improvement is what we'll continue to strive and achieve.
I know the Inspector General of Police has actually addressed your officers equally to the DIG and the AIG. What now is your message to them now that everybody's attention is at the Collation Center?
They should just remain steadfast. They should remain at alert and carry out their responsibilities as professionals, which we are, and ensure that safety is number one and our responsibilities must be carried out.
And now about the people of Oyo State too. It is no doubt a very, very serious situation, and the people are not too happy about this development. But for them, some of them will be going to the Collation Center. What assurance are you giving them on their safety?
As I've said earlier, before I came into the studio, the punching arm of the force in Oyo State have been activated, and all of them are on patrol. Some are admin office. All arms are there, so they have no issues at all. But we want to appeal that there should be no unreleased information to members of the public. False news, they should avoid it and realize that that could cause a serious damage, and we do not want this to occur.
I wouldn't know whether Abuja will be having any question for the Commissioner of Police in Oyo State, particularly as regards the development so far, and equally to what has happened yesterday. If there is any question, the CP is here to answer. And if there is none, for you in Abuja, I want us to take a look at internal party democracy. It's actually causing a lot of problems in Nigeria, and it has gotten to a level where most of the problems that are occurring now, and we are seeing, for instance, when you look at the issue of court ruling, the issue of a candidate coming in and being announced as the candidate of a particular party, and within another, maybe 1 or 2 days, we discover that we have another candidate. What can we do in Nigeria to make sure that internal party democracy actually reigns supreme? It's over to you in Abuja. And I want to say thank you, our Commissioner of Police, Olukolu, for joining us to highlight some of these issues that we have talked about. We will still be calling on you so that we can know what is happening at the Collation Center and what you are doing to ensure security. Abuja is over to you.
Thank you very much, Femi. The question I may have for the police commissioner is how the entire police command in Oyo State is beefing up security at all these polling units, particularly now at the coalition centers, noting that since the results are yet to be announced, with this development now losing a whole member of the House of Representatives is not a palatable news. So what is the police command in Oyo doing to beef up security?
Let me once again state clearly and categorically that the disease that we are talking about is purely a case of murder. It has nothing to do with the electoral process. However, for those who are in terms of security for the citizens, the police patrol teams are out there. The men in mufti, the CID men are out there. And we are also working in conjunction with other security agencies, sister security agencies, to get feelers, to get intelligence, and that's what we are working on. For the men who are out there, we want to assure them of their safety at all times. They have no fear, they have no cause to fear for anything at all.
Thank you very much, Police Commissioner for Oyo State. Femi, we have taken note of the issues you want us to continue discussing here. And for now, we'll go straight to Lagos to show a collation taking place in Lagos.
EC8D which is here just to let you know that the forms are intact. Sorry, can you just bring it out, please? Okay, that's the form EC8D that we're going to use for the collation. And then the form EC8E, returning form. So what we are, the way we are going to really go about this is that each local government, you know, the results for each local government will be presented by the with the electoral officer, and then we will give the party agents the opportunity to make comments. And so we are going to be as transparent as possible all through this particular. We are very, very free, you know, to comments, and then we will try as much as possible to ensure that we give adequate time, you know, because this is very crucial and it's very important, and we want and every one of us to be satisfied at the end of the entire exercise. So I don't know if we are going to follow the order of arrival. So,
Lagos Island. Let the collation officer and the electoral officer for Lagos Island please move forward. Lagos Island.
Thank you very much. The collation officer, you will introduce yourself. Electoral officer also the opportunity to introduce ourselves before you now present the results.
Thank you, sir. My name is Dr. Adepoju Tejumai of the University of Lagos. I am the collation officer for the gubernatorial election in Lagos Island local government.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Chinwe Okoro, Electoral Officer, Lagos Island. My name is Chinwe Okoro, Electoral Officer, Lagos Island.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Can you please repeat instructions, please, so that they can hear you?
Thank you, sir. My name is Dr. Adepoju Tejumaye of the University of Lagos. Thank you, sir.
My name is Chinwe Okoro, Electoral Officer, Lagos Island.
Thank you. I hereby present the results for the gubernatorial election for Lagos Island local government. There are 19 wards in Lagos Island local government. An election took place in all the wards. There is no cancellation. Number of registered voters, 196401. 196401. Number of accredited voters, 40337. 40337. Party A, 06. 6. Thank you. Party AAC, 18.
Sorry, I'm sorry I will have to take you back. We will to know the number of the code of the local government.
Okay.
The code of the local government, then the number of registered voters and the number of accredited voters.
For each ward, sir? Okay.
No, total.
Okay.
Overall.
The code of the local government is 14.
Okay.
Well, we will go back to Lagos for more updates when the results are ready. For now, as you can see, only 3 local government areas results are at the Collation Center. We'll, of course, also go to other centers when the need arises, that is, when they have updates for us. Welcome to this transmission of the Nigeria Decides here from Abuja. My name is Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Our guests are still here, but joining us newly is Ahmed Raji SAN. He's a legal practitioner and a senior advocate of Nigeria. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Of course, my Nasara Kogo Umar, an international analyst on democracy, good governance, and nation building, is still here with us.
Happy democracy, Nigeria.
Ibrahim Modibo, my friend and public affairs analyst, is here.
Thank you very much.
They kept the flag flying since morning with Musbahu Danwahab, who has now excused himself, and I'm standing here continuing with discussions, analysis, observations, and comments on the governorship and state houses of assembly elections held yesterday in 29 states of the 36 states of the Federation. Of course, Federal Capital Territory had elections into the chairman and area council offices. We are awaiting those results because coalitions are going on across all the states and the Federal Capital Territory. For now, let us discuss the issues that emanated, particularly from Oyo State, where we have heard the bad news of of fatality, we understand Olatoye Sugar, a member of the Federal House of Representatives and representing Lagelu Akinyele Federal Constituency, lost his life in yesterday. We understand even the police commissioner had cause to discuss or reveal that it was a murder case. Because we have an SAN with us, we will want his initial comments on this development, and of course we'll now roll into the other issues.
I think the events of yesterday concerning the death of Honorable Olatoye Sugar is most unfortunate, and may God Almighty repose his soul. May God forgive his sins. But it's a bad, very, very bad situation. That because of an offer for service, life will be lost. Because we want to elect governors, life will be lost. Because we want to elect members of House of Assembly who should come in and better our laws, we will be losing lives. It is very, very bad. And I think the police authorities and all the security agencies should do everything humanly possible to make sure that the culprits, whoever they may be, are apprehended and they are dealt with according to law.
Well, for now, let me allow Manesara to come in here as an international analyst on democracy. You had said happy democracy. So yes. Does it portend happy democracy?
Well, first of all, my condolence to the entire 200 million Nigerians. It's a loss for every Nigerian, not in his position as a lawmaker in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but it is a symbolism of the lacuna we have in the administration of peace and security during elections. You see, we have a very big gap. If you take Section 29, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act, it predicates on the Independent National Electoral Commission the power to superintend electoral peace. But our Independent Electoral Commission does not have police, does not have military, does not have any security personnel under its control. It is a wrong thing. Ideally, we should leave anything to do with security to take any offense that is happening during the electioneering period as a normal criminality, so that within the purview of the law, Section 214 to 216, Chapter 4 of the Police Act, the police will be able to handle it statutorily. If you take even the Electoral Act to buttress the lacuna I'm talking about, Section 24 gives the police the power to instantly arrest when there is problem, without the necessity of procuring warrant. Because if you say you go into technicalities of procuring warrant or whatever, the ultimate objective will be defeated. Section 29 gives you the power, the police officer the power to detain. And even by Section 66, they have the power to even inflict penalties immediately, temporarily, in order to sanitize the system. The ultimate objective is the preservance and safeguardance of Section 14, subsection 2, that talks about the security as the fundamental and primary responsibility of the government. If somebody at the level of Sugar, what did you call his name?
Olatoye.
If somebody of his standing, a former member of House of Representatives, a serving member of House of Representatives, now aspiring to be a senator of the Federal Republic, can be murdered in such a way. What security do you have for a poor common man in my village? You understand? The Inspector General of Police...
Madam Minister, let's quickly go to Kano, where Fatima Sinusuk RI is standing by to give us some updates. Over to you, Fatima.
Okay, I am at the Collation Center here for the governorship election here in Kano. And in a few moments from now, Collation will commence.
We apologize for the break in that audio there. Fatima is not very audible. We'll go back to her as soon as our engineers are able to correct those challenges. Malan Mainasara, you are on the lacuna.
Yes, so the Inspector General gave a marching order that there should be security patrol within the vicinity of every polling district in order to ensure peace-free conduct of the elections. But here we are. This distinguished Nigerian is murdered within the vicinity. So which means...
So the question is, is it a failure of the patrol or the patrol was not effective?
The combination of the two. There was no patrol in the first place. If there was, there wouldn't have been this. But what is important is what is even disturbing me more fundamentally here is that we have this culture of consistent committal of these criminalities. You don't see anybody penalized. You don't see application of the needed sanctions. In 2015, all those crooks that committed trouble, I did not see any of them now languishing in jail or somebody losing his life as a result of killing someone else. I didn't see anybody penalized. You remember even there was somebody that wanted to turn the nation upside down when collation was going on at the federal level during Jega time. That person is still enjoying his life. Nothing has happened to him. Look, we should not allow impunity to be the system of governance in Nigeria. We should be able to be seeing criminality matching it with relevant force, so that we should know that we have existence of government. Sanctity of life is very, very paramount. I'm saddened. I'm really down as I heard that somebody has lost his life. One life of a Nigerian is a loss. Too much for the Federal Republic.
Ibrahim Modibo is not just a journalist, but is a politician. We lost a fellow politician. What will you say to this?
Honestly, in both content and character, I think there's a fundamental flaw in the security architecture that governed that state, that premeditated the murder of that politician. My heart bleeds for this country. Whenever I hear a politician being murdered in the quest to serve his fatherland, my heart bleeds, especially for that Sugar, who was a very vibrant and highly mobile in terms of intellectual capacity and in terms of his input into the legislative business of the Green Chambers. My heart bleeds. You see, politics is about service. It's not a do-or-die affair. But, you know, because maybe of the spoils of office associated with politics, people tend to see it as a do-or-die affair. That I must win either by hook or crook. And the only way that could be able to reach that, because they know it's possible, they know that that politician is a serious threat in terms of electoral value. That is why maybe some people have decided to sniff his life out of the surface of the earth on that electoral day. But let us ask some fundamental questions. On election day, even vehicles and people are not allowed to move about with vehicles and with weapons. Where is the security architecture? Where has the police been when this thing has happened? Because they said, based on the reports we've been hearing, that it happened around in, an election area. So could somebody just come and shoot somebody with the noise of the gun and just escape and go into thin air without any resistance from the security agencies? There are some fundamental questions that should be asked. And I strongly believe that President Muhammadu Buhari's idea of election or democracy is all about government of the people, for the people, and by the people, where the votes of the people count. And in so doing, he stated clearly that he will not give people money, and he's not going to allow any vandalism in terms of violence to be perpetrated on people because of elections. That the blood of Nigeria is not worth being spilled on the altar of this puritanical hypocrisy. Because as far as I'm concerned, it is hypocrisy. Because if you know that this person is having an electoral value that you think you can sniff life out of him, you are not doing this country good. And especially a member of the National Assembly. My heart bleeds. I strongly believe that there's a need for us to divorce ourselves from the past. It used to be a fashion in those days. Political opponents being killed, political opponents being murdered on the eve of election or during election, simply because some people want to get power either by hook or crook. Now, as stated by Mr. Majdasara, why is the punishment? Where is the security? Why is punishment? There must be appropriate punishment made to anybody who is accused. And my problem even is the issue of prosecutorial powers. Most of the people that have perpetrated electoral violence, have they been prosecuted? Most of them, since the dawn of history, since the dawn of this Kano Republic, from 1999, how many people on electoral matters, those that have either maimed or killed people, have they been prosecuted and imprisoned? So as to act as a deterrent, to serve as a lesson to people. So fundamentally, we are having a problem. And the issue of security, I still want to hammer on it, because the president categorically stated that nobody should either snatch ballot boxes, that the security agents should deal decisively with anyone that wants to foment trouble. And fomenting trouble by killing somebody around an electoral area on an election day is a crime against humanity. And therefore, the police must fish out these people. It is the fundamental duty of the police to make sure that this man, the spirit of this man, does not die in vain. I strongly believe there's need for us.
I still want to come back to Ahmed Raji. Going by what Modibo just said, if Honorable Olatoye Sugar was indeed murdered within the principle of an electoral unit or polling unit, it means that the whole of that area becomes a crime scene. What will you be telling the police command in Oyo State right now? What should they be doing?
Well, I think my major worry, and I think the police commissioner is managing it well from my understanding of his body language, because he deliberately avoided saying it is political to avoid reprisal attack, to avoid vengeance. Because if it had come out of his mouth that this is political, then you can imagine what will happen before the evening time, because maybe Sugar has his own people, and then they react, and then the whole of Ibadan will be in flames. So my appeal to the police authorities is, one, to stem any possible likely vengeance mission, which may be very, very catastrophic in Ibadan. Two, to make sure that for the aftermath of the death of Sugar is well managed in such a way that the aggrieved one will see that the authorities are doing something to apprehend the possible culprits, whoever they may be, wherever they may be.
Yeah,
but,
let's leave it there for now. Let's quickly go back to Kano. We understand the signals have stabilized now, and Fatima Sanuskarai is standing by to give us some more updates at the Collation Center in Kano. Over to you, Fatima.
Yeah, I am at the Collation Center here for the governorship election results here in Kano. And collation will begin in just a few minutes from now. And there's a sizable number of returning officers from some of the 44 local government areas of the state here ready to begin collation. And as well as some party agents and observers, they're all here waiting for the collation to commence. Like I said, about 16 local governments are here ready to commence returning their results. And it is important to know that some of the results have
Fatima, we have lost you again, but our engineers will be up to it, certainly. When they clear the glitches, we'll go back to her. So far, Fatima Senut-Karaye has told us that 16 local government areas have turned in their results for collation at the Collation Center in Kano. And we'll go back to her if she has more updates or if the collation begins and ends with the announcement of results, hopefully. Mala Ahmed Raji, we were with you and you were talking about what you think the police command in Oyo State should be doing. You said the police commissioner appeared to be managing the aftermath of the killing of Honorable Latoye Sugar.
Well, because his body language, I mean, is like, oh, let us not give it a political bent. Otherwise, it may attract some reactions from some other people in the state. So, and having characterized it as pure murder, I think they should quickly move. After all, whether political or pure crime, murder is murder. All we're interested in is who are the culprits. They should quickly do something so that the members of the public will see that something has been done. And we must commend him for not labeling it political before investigation. Because if he had, I'm afraid, there might be issues. And God forbid, if the whole crisis will start all over again and people will start killing and then more lives will be lost, and where will that one take us? So we should commend the CP.
Even though the resident electoral commissioner in Oyo was not in the studio at the point in time that the police commissioner was making that comment, but again, what will you say to the need to beef up security?
Absolutely important.
At the Collation Center and all the surroundings of Ibom particularly.
Absolutely very, very important. Nothing can be too much to secure lives and property, even if it means calling the soldiers to come and secure the life and properties. Because the whole essence of governance is the peace of the people, the security of people and their properties. But where that one is being endangered one way or the other, the government of a nation can go above the Constitution to preserve the Constitution. So even if it means bringing in the soldiers to secure the people and secure the property, I do not think anything is wrong with it.
Well, we're still on you, but I will let Madam Minister come in here. Again, in Oyo State, the issue of ballot box snatching, along with the killing.
Yes, yes. You see, right from the First Republic, it has been the character of that enclave. And that is why they got even this golden name, WWW, before even the coming of the internet. Wild, Wild West. You understand? It got that one because of the volatility of the area when it comes to issue of election. It really has been characterized as an area that has predominance of violence when it comes to this. So it is not an area that we should allow chances. It should not an area. It should be an area that should be security watertight. For example, like my learned SAN said, there is nothing wrong in even inviting the military or other members of the armed forces. Section 217 to 220 has adequately given provision for that, owing to the inadequacy of the police personnel. We know very well. There are just about 400,000 police personnel. 400,000, half of them have already been deployed as orderlies of Mr. Somebody's. The remaining half of them equally have already been deployed to safeguard sensitive installations, ambassadorial missions, banks, important governmental agencies, CBNs, and the rest. So the remaining, that is just about 100,000.
But for the election matters, they have been assisted by the civil defense and other agencies.
That is what I'm saying in complementary with what the learned said, that there is nothing that shouldn't be done, whether it is asking the military to come on board, we should do it. If you leave it with the INEC, for example, by virtue of Section 150 of the Electoral, where do they have even the decision to go and prosecute for the referee if you leave it? When they too, they are supposed to be parties to any litigation. So we should streamline our decision. What should come on board now is national interest. We need coordination of all the architecture of the security. Every hand should be on deck. Whether you are a civil defense corps, whether you are a plain DSS, whether you are the one carrying arm, whatever you are, we should do all we can within the bounds of our power to be able to contain sanity and peaceful coexistence in the nation. That is what we need more than anything. We have gotten election now successfully conducted. All we want now is just the remaining hours when we get released results, formally announced, then later when you get certificates of return, then preparations for swearing in. Then we should not allow any person to reverse us back to uncivilized point.
Uncivilized point, Ibrahim Modibo. As a politician, this is your turf. I mean, it appears the threat that anyone who would snatch a ballot box will do that at the expense of his life some people just didn't take heed to that, really.
Yes. You see, the most sudden thing is that some of these security forces have failed to implement what Mr. President has directed. Because if example were to be set, I did not say that they should kill anybody, but if they shoot the leg and maybe maim you, tomorrow if you are walking with a stick and you are just, going gaga like this, you know yourself that next election you will not do it. But in a situation where people will snatch ballot boxes with impunity, they will go and render result and the result will count. It shows a clear departure from the dictates or from the instruction of Mr. President. Although you see, when he made that assertion, some people have taken it to an Olympian height that Mr. President said they should kill people or they should kill opposition. As if this directive is meant for PDP or for any other opposition. This directive is meant for everybody, including the APC. But these people have taken it to Olympian height. They have been shouting left, right, and center. They have even reported to United Nations, to everywhere, Paris, US, and everywhere, that the president said they should shoot ballot box snatchers. If you are not a ballot box snatcher, why must you complain? And is ballot box snatching part of democracy, part of the tenets all over the globe? So if you know that tomorrow, you see, the issue of all this ballot snatching, look at this issue of killing is not only limited to Oyo, because the Oyo's case is because a legislator is involved, a person of this is involved. Look at what happened in Taraba. During that presidential election, do you know, some people went on campaign district to around Karolamido area. While they were coming back to Jalingo, they were ambushed. About 7 or 10 people were killed in their car. They were brought out and killed. But it has not attracted national attention because it's from a remote area. Must we continue like this? Why are the security forces? Me, I've not, since this election started, I've not even seen the soldiers, very close to this thing because of this international outcry. They say, soldiers have been drafted and it has been militarized. So if you know that you are not a ballot box snatcher, why must you cry? For us to have a very fundamental democratic setup, the military should assist the police. Because as you said, about 400,000 police people will not be able to, marshal 200 million Nigerians. Look at the remote areas. They cannot. Therefore, the military, civil defense, immigration, and this thing should be assisted. And honestly and sincerely, if these elections has already gone, but I do not subscribe to a point where the police will only be given sticks to hold. Everywhere in the world, police, everywhere they are holding weapons. Go to US, go to anywhere you see police is adequately prepared. Because his life is also in danger. In that event, in Ibadan, if, for instance, that police that is holding this colonial stick that we used to use it during the Lugard period. He's still holding stick in this modern day period. And these people came with a gun and shot. Can that policeman as an individual, even if they are 2 or 10, can they go and start arresting those boys? So, while I commend the Leonard Silk for saying that the police commissioner, in his wisdom, has been very, very articulate in that he did not link it to political district. But there's a need for serious investigation. Let them investigate to find the remote and immediate causes of this crisis, of this problem. Because a stitch in time saves 9. And in our own democracy, we should not make it a do-or-die affair. The days of election rigging, the days of this thing should be over. By now, we are supposed to accept everything in good faith. Losing and winning, they are all part of democratic culture. It's either you lose or you win. Among the two, you get it. So that's what you should expect. But in the circumstances where you think, because you've seen a threat, you eliminate somebody's life because of worldly things, for God's sake, why is our conscience?
But Malam Munesero wants to chip in an issue on, still on the ballot box?
Yes, the directive the president gave, that is what is expected of an astute leader. By Section 130 of the Constitution, he is the Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So he should be the one to really show be the pathfinder. And you see, this issue of ballot box snatching, it is something that can go, you are just seeing it from the ordinary look of ballot box. For example, the person to snatch the ballot box will come in convoy with some criminals, will come in convoy with some thugs. That violates Section 81 of the Electoral Act, thuggery, and will come with guns. The penalty of possessing gun illegally itself, not even using it, is another thing. Terrorizing the people because he has to scare everybody before snatching the box. That one, Section 2.1 of the Anti-Terrorism Act comes into play. It's an act of terrorism. Depending on its magnitude, it can even lead to attract penalty of death. Now, he now picks the box, run away. In the process, he crushed down a pregnant woman that was allowed to deliver, killing the woman, killing the baby inside. Case of double murder. Police are saying, and INEC are saying, stop. He is running away, disrespecting the authorities, contrary to sections 23, 24 of the Constitution. So, by the time you culminate the numerity of all these offenses, all these criminalities, the minute beginning of which is the intention to snatch ballot box, of which you get the combination of the consequences of the actions. Even if you now kill the person, you have not done justice to the consequence he has. So some actions warrant even more than killing. So I'm saying this to support the position of the president regarding it to serve as a deterrent, but most fundamentally of deterrence. Otherwise, if we continue with this culture of it's a political something that is all at the altar of political exigencies, you deliberately decide not to prosecute the culprits, or you allow some of the friends of my SAN, the attorney generals, to be applied, not only prosecute in order to subvert justice, just at the balance of political convenience, then God will now have to...
So the attorney generals are not your friends, even though you're a barrister also.
No, I am a barrister, but a barrister with small L. When you have a learned silk,
no way.
No. I cannot raise my head.
No.
So it will be nice now for us to turn away from the issues of ballot box snatching, the issues of this killing, even though going by what the learned silk said, investigation, we believe, should have started now.
Let the investigation not unnecessarily be delayed. Justice delayed is justice denied.
Exactly, and let the culprits be brought to book.
Yes.
We believe that's what the police command in Oyo State is doing right now.
But I have an idea. I have something.
You wanted to add.
Yes.
Okay, then.
You see, I quite agree with both of them and your analysis and what you have prescribed. But I think we need to look beyond just apprehending the culprits and then punishing them. We are treating the effects. What are the causes? I think the major cause of this problem is an over-monetized electoral system. apart from being over-monetized, then the concept of what is our concept of public office is seen as the only source of getting there quickly to make money.
Yes.
I think if the public offices become less attractive, all these criminal
public offices for public service.
For public service, and not for... And how do we get there? For example, the presidential system of government, which we are running, should be seriously tinkered with. Do we really need it?
It's very expensive.
A situation where a governor or somebody aspiring to be a governor will spend close to almost 5 billion.
Yes.
So if you are spending or you are putting out about 5 billion or 10 billion to contest for an office, won't you kill together? Having regard to the amount of money involved? But if it is just a parliamentary system and everybody will just go into parliament, when you get there and then, I mean, why will you be... I'm not saying there may be no killing in the parliamentary system, but...
In fact, there was in the First Republic.
Yes, but the rate, when the public office becomes less attractive, when it is not over-monetized, because who are those giving them these guns, assuming it's political? Who is buying the guns? And when you look at the amount of money involved, the stake is too high. Hence, life means nothing to them. So long as we leave those causes unattended, we may be in for a long time battling the effects.
So, Marlon Raji, you are one of the advocates now for Nigeria to go back to the parliamentary system.
That is, it may be in a modified way, but just to make sure, I've given you an example. An average person looking for office of a governor in this country today needs between 5 to 10 billion, depending on the size of the state. And
Naira or dollars?
Well, maybe Naira. Let me put it like that.
Whatever equivalent.
Because as a learner sick, it depends on the denomination.
No. You need about they went to a senior lawyer, they asked him to come and contest, and he asked them, how much will this enterprise cost? And they told him, one of the very low states, he said, between 3 and 4 billion. He said, look, when I put this amount of money there, how will I get my money back? They say, one contract only, you get your money back. That is to show the mindset. Yes. And then he said, look, if I have 3-4 billion, what do I need public office for? I sit in my home, plan my life, and then I live my life. Why should I go in there? But somebody who can take about 10 billion, and then you put it chasing to become a governor or what have you, I mean...
So let me ask you, in what way will the parliamentary system reduce the cost compared to the presidential system? In what way? Because someone will still want to seek the position of governorship.
No, that would be...
If you tell me the parliamentary system will reduce the number of legislators that we have, because you will not have a separate minister, first and foremost, you must win a seat in parliament to be a minister. I will agree. No, but this is the position of governor you are given.
No, because there will be no elected governor again under a parliamentary system. All of you will be elected into the parliament, then a leader will emerge from among the parliamentarians. All of them they will be elected into the parliament. Sadauna never stood for any general election in northern region as it was. Awolowo never. Zig never.
He only stood for his constituency.
His constituency. Yes. Balewa never. He stood from Bauchi and he came into the federal parliament and then he became the prime minister. So there won't be anything like somebody presidential campaign council, presidential something council, raising billions and billions of money and what have you. So the same thing ditto for governorship. And then the elections will just be once. There won't be presidential today, governorship tomorrow. Parliamentary election, everything can be done in a day, and then it will be a simple process, and we'll stop wasting money.
We'll come back to these issues. Ibrahim is inching to also make a comment, but let's quickly go to Abeokuta to get updates on collation that is going on. Well, we lost them. We'll go back to them. Ibrahim, over to you.
Yes. What I want to ask, there are fundamental questions to ask. One, why is the presidential system working in other places, other climes, and we having problems in Nigeria? Why?
Let me answer it.
Then secondly, I'm coming. I'm asking, this is just a rhetorical question.
There are legal luminaries.
Yes.
Answer your question.
Yes. It's even a rhetorical question.
Yes.
Then too, if we look at the issue of the parliament, we've tested it before. So if we say they were going back to the parliament.
You mean parliamentary system?
Parliamentary system. What happens to the civil servants that we have in all the states of the federation? What happens to, you know, the architecture we build, especially the states, you know, and the components? You see, my problem, my worry here is democracy, there's nothing bad, there's nothing wrong with presidential system. There's nothing wrong. But the modus operandi, the way it is operated, especially here in Nigeria, is what caused to question this issue. Because if you look at, I was an apostle before the Leonard Sale came in. I said the expenses in terms of running a presidential system is just too much, especially the National Assembly. People have been spending so much, you contest for this thing, and then you are looking, a lot of people look up to elections because they want to line their pockets, not necessarily to serve. But that is not the essence of democracy. In some other clients, you find people, they will even go and beg them, come and serve. They don't even have one kobo. But because of credibility, because of their intellectual capacity, and also because of the sincerity of purpose and what they've contributed to society, people will come and form themselves into groups and then donate.
And beg them to serve.
And beg them to serve. But yeah, anyone that goes, people are just in a hurry to go and steal money to go into elections. Once they grab power, because they know, like the governorship, the security vote, and that security vote is not accountable to anybody. It's only God. You get whatever you want to get, you amass whatever wealth you want to amass from there. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Nobody will ask you for accountability. That is why that's the departure. So if we're going to get that, to me, I don't think anything is wrong with the presidential system, but the modus operandi, the way we spend monies, the way, and if you look at the current economy, it's not good for us. We cannot continue all these bogus salaries that we're paying the senator. We cannot. One payment of salary, one day they'll carry Ghana must go about 13.something million. So you cannot continue like that because the economy is so good for that. There's no one in the world.
You don't want presidential system to change, but you are talking about the demerits, amount of money.
The demerits.
So the issue is
because under a parliamentary system, when the prime minister sits in the parliament, they all look at it together.
And he only earns his money as a parliamentarian.
As a parliamentarian. So this bogus money, and then the security vote you are talking about.
You are now going back to
Parliament. What I'm saying,
the security vote you are talking about, it is almost alien in a parliamentary system.
Yes.
And it is the presidential system. We lack the moral fiber to implement it.
Yes.
We lack what it takes to implement it.
Yes.
Why we may be lucky with the president that we have. Look at the 36 governors. Look at what is happening in several states. There's no point mentioning any state, but look at what is happening. It's either themselves and their wives.
Yes.
Themselves and their wives. And then look at the extent we have gone so bad that a governor was trying to impose his own son-in-law as a successor. Is that possible under parliamentary?
No. It's not possible.
Okay, then what are we talking about? In the Western region, when Chief Awolowo of blessed memory was going to the national parliament, and there was going to be a successor to him, naturally he didn't want Chief Akintola. He preferred Akindeko. But they said, no, that cannot be. In the hierarchy in the parliament, Akintola was the next. So he had no choice. But today, not only will the governor bring whoever he wants, I mean, they just like a sheikh and the czars. I mean,
like one governor was saying that when people are asking him, you know, your state, you are not even paying salaries, you are not doing anything. The civil servants are suffering. Yet, you are chartering private jet every time to Abuja. He said, is the state not even lucky that he's chartering private jet? As if he is going to buy boys. God
bless you. Now,
by himself.
If it's a parliamentary system, he has to be in the parliament every week. Why will he be junketing all over the place? They will remove him, and a new leader will emerge in the parliament.
Something tells me all this emanates because there is no internal party democracy within the parties. And I think this is one issue, as Leonard said, you will address the barrister and the politician here. We will address it. But let's quickly go to Uyo to join Ifoma. She is at the Akwa Ibom State Collation Center to give us some updates there. Ifoma, over to you.
Thank you, studio, for having me. All is now set for the collation of governorship results in Akwa Ibom State. Right here in the Collation Center, civil society organizations, the political agents, the observers, coalition officers, electoral officers are all seated waiting for the state coalition officer and the resident electoral commissioner. While we are waiting for the coalition to start, let's feel the pulse of the people on their assessment of the election here in Akwa Ibom. Say, sir, you're one of the party agents. How did the election go here?
Yes, to God be the glory. I think for the very first time in the history of Akwa Ibom State, that all the coalition agents of all the political parties are being carried along by the resident electoral commissioner of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Mike Igini. I think it has been the freest of all elections, the freest and the freest. Everything went fine, right from the polling unit. The materials were there before 8 o'clock, and people were even seated before that time. And by exact 8 a.m., election started. And throughout everywhere, it was peaceful. Most of us were calling Mike Igini to congratulate him, even from our different polling units. And now here we are. You can see the atmosphere is very cool. No exaggeration. Everybody are okay. So we thank God. And we thank Mike Igini and INEC. God bless them.
Thank you so much. We also have another party agent here. He will also assess the whole process in Akwa Ibom State.
Prince Joseph James Itiaba. I want to first and foremost thank INEC and the REC, the #1 umpire so far in the States, for exercising his integrity as a leader and also making an election in Akwa Ibom State extremely free and fair. I want to make bold to say that it has never happened since the inception of politics in Akwa Ibom State, where we have INEC being very free and transparent, just as we have experienced now. I believe in God that at the end of the day, the wishes of the people will manifest.
Thank you so much. Well, that is the situation here in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. As soon as the coalition exercise starts, I will alert the studio. It's now back to you.
Informer, we thank you for that update. And one interesting development from you is the fact that those two party agents you spoke to appear to already have positive assessment of the election. We hope they will have this positive assessment when the results are out. Brian.
Well, you see, the beauty of politics, or what I call the comedy of errors, is people as it is now, they will come and say, look, this is the best election, this is that, this and that. But by the time the result comes out, if it doesn't favor them, now they start crying foul. They say, wolf, why there's none. Now, elections, especially this one, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the freest and fairest elections, because the issue of traditional do-or-die politics is not there, and also ballot box snatching is minimized. Although globally, there's no election the world over where it is 100%. There must be pitfalls. But if you look comparatively, if you look at the country, look at it from 1999 to the present, you'll find out that at every step, the elections are improving. And I'm so happy to associate myself with what INEC has so far done. It has been fair, transparent, and people represented. I mean, it has the vote of the people matter. And therefore, I think it's a pass mark.
Yeah, Madam Minister, yes, what is the implication, or rather the implication of a situation where a party agent assesses an election prior to the release of results, but says something differently after the results are out?
Yes, normally it has to do with the disposition of ungentlemanly attitudes of our politicians. representative represents the principle. If you are there as a party agent, you are there representing the political party. And normally, you sign the result sheets, whether at the polling level or at the local government level, at the ward level, and at the DC. So at the end, ultimately, for party to come and kick against the results, look at from the Akwa Ibom experience. they are praising the exercise. They are saying that is the best they can get on this earth. At the end of it, when the result comes out, we pray they will sing the same tone. Otherwise, you will discover that at the end of it, the number of election petitions that will come out of this very one that they are all praising will be surprising, will be a shocker to you. They are now praising. But the moment it doesn't favor them, that comes to the issue of self, a character of Nigerian politicians with the learned talk about. Politics should be seen as a game of collective service for the redemption of humanity, for the upliftment of the sanctity of human life, for the upliftment of the society so that we develop to the level of the countries we are admiring.
Yeah, let's get the 96 comment. What is the implication? Yes. A situation whereby I'm referring to the Learner's Sake now. A party agent signs a result sheet, which means ab initio, he agrees with the coalition. Then his party turns around to now say, no, they don't agree with that result.
Well, once your agent signs, the presumption is that, although rebuttable, it is agreeable to you.
Oh, it's rebutable?
It's rebuttable. For example, if evidence can be laid that your agent was bought over, or your agent has colluded, or your agent signed under duress, or whatever. But on the face of it, once your agent signs, it means that everything is normal, and the burden to prove otherwise is now with you, to show that it was not your true agent that signed, he was induced, he sold out, he betrayed you, and then, which is a very big task on you. But on the face of it, ordinarily, the presumption is that everything is fine, but it is reportable.
If not, you will have to bring facts to buttress the rebuttal.
You must have to bring facts that he sold out. I never knew that he's been seeing my opponent secretly, and this is the evidence. This is the amount of money they wired to his account. This is what he has promised them, telephone, text messages, and what have you. All manners of evidence can be laid to show that your own agent is not truly it's not truly your agent, but agent of your opponent.
We will dwell largely on some legal issues in the electoral process when we come back. Now, for now, we are joining our Lagos network studio, while Bayo Adewusi appears ready to take on the continuation of Nigeria Decides discussions, analysis, and observations. Over to you, Bayo.
Muhammadu Kudu Abubakar, thank you very much in Abuja. The rest of Nigeria, hello and a warm welcome to the Lagos studio of Nigeria Decides from the Lagos Network Center. I am joined in the studio by two gentlemen to review what went down yesterday. We call it the morning after. To my right is Chief Festus Okorie, Public Relations Officer, Head Publicity, the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, Lagos Branch. And next to him is somebody who is becoming almost an in-house analyst. He's a lawyer and a human rights activist. Welcome, Barrister Nwazi. Well, gentlemen, as I said, we're taking a look at the morning after, particularly in Lagos, and from Lagos we'll go to other parts of the country. The role of party agents seems to be a sore point because you cast your votes at a particular unit. The polling agent attests to the figures. Later on, down the line, they are capable of changing their minds. So people are beginning to say, are some party agents compromised? What's your view, Chief Okorie?
Yeah, I think that happens most of the times, if not all of the times. But what I have to say here is the candidates should be wary and very careful in choosing or making appointment of who to be their party agents. Because there are professional party agents. What I mean by that, there are those who want to be party agents just for purpose of making money at that point where he is supposed to be relied upon to say the truth. He goes there and compromises. So that is the beginning of the problem.
Mr. Nwaze, what's your view? You did not participate in the last elections because you were busy here in the studios, but you also observed the way the election went. What are your views?
Let me go back to the question you posed earlier. You see, when I listened to the Len Silk in Abuja talking about where a party agent signs this sheet from the polling, it's a presumption of regularity. We are okay. But it's reportable, and he gave instances of how it can be reported. Of course, there are party agents that, for the sake of money or afterthought intentions, what I mean by afterthought is that though they are party agents to a particular party, subsequently they must have compromised in one way or the other. And so when they get there, of course, they can just sign whatever is there without actually verifying, allowing it to be verified what has been from the unit. That is one. Now, but let me cross over to the questions you just asked me. The elections, well, it was relatively peaceful, and the peaceful is because we learned a lot of lessons from the presidential, and it was peaceful again because of circumstances. What I mean by circumstances is that if you look at it, there were few voter turnout this time around, so it was easier for election to go smoothly for the card readers, for the presiding officers to coordinate. So it was very, very easy. So if you look at my area particularly, the elections went peaceful.
Okay, generally speaking, sir, it is agreed that the elections were peaceful, but there was a lot of voter apathy. And so some political scientists and observers are positing that if we had arranged these elections, the series of elections differently, if we had had the gubernatorial and House of Assembly elections before the presidential, do you think it would have made a substantial difference in terms of voter apathy? Dr. Amin Chief of Korea.
Yeah, I think if you allow me to say something, if you want me to make a choice, I would want the choice of somebody who represents me in my home, from around my state first, before we talk about presidential. I think that is a pointer to the right direction.
Why do you say that?
Yeah. The index one can use to measure participation is at the level of the state, the level of local government. If one chooses the representative from the local government, you'll be able to take decision on who to choose at the state level. Then from state level, it goes to the federal level. This issue of bandwagon effect, when you have the presidential elections first, then every other person will now key in to, yes, this is likely to be the ruling party. Let us join in order to cut our own cake. That mentality should cease. If we reorder our elections to begin from the local government stage before the presidential, I think that should be a better thing to do.
David, do you share his view?
I share his view with some details, which I think we have learned from this recent election. I've always advocated on sundry fora that I think the grassroots election should come before the presidential, and that is manifested in the previous election. We saw factors that played out. For example, you were talking of voters' apathy. The contributory factor was the fact that we had presidential election first before the gubernatorial yesterday. And this caused one, if you look at it, some people just felt that people who traveled, sacrificially traveled to to vote. This time around, they could not. Why? Some of them, it was personal. One, they feel like, one, their vote won't count. to the violence which was feared from the presidential. Even though it didn't occur yesterday, there were not much violent cases. But that fear factor, there were people who sat in their house and said, let me just watch them. I want to go there and watch, see fights and all that. Now, particularly it's another factor which even the court that has gone to the courts. In 2015, the court said the army has no role when it comes to electoral processes. And we see some people coming out to say, let's add the soldiers to this our electoral process. And we in Nigeria, we know the position of a soldier. We know the intellect, the mindset of a soldier in any gathering. Force. So that contributes substantially to the voter apathy which we witnessed just the previous day. Now, these are factors that played out overall that made voters to relax in their homes and say, let us watch what will happen. Now, coming back to specifically why I said the gubernatorial should come before the presidential. It will be very good that, like he said, it will serve as an index for me to weigh how the presidential election will be. If I'm able to, they are able to coordinate the elections within the state.
Yeah, but the way things have gone so far, can you say there was a bandwagon effect of any sort?
Well, I don't agree. I just felt like circumstances detected on how the gubernatorial elections played out, not really a bandwagon effect, because there are states which you will see that votes were done for persons rather than party. So
Is that a good development?
Yeah, that's it's a very good development for our democracy. I always look forward to see a time where our politics will not be party entrenched. No, it will be person focused. You look at the person, look at his character, look at his past record, look at his leadership qualities, and you vote for him rather than the party.
Yes, Dr. Korea, talking about that, you know, in other places, I mean, Chief Korea, I'm sorry, when we look at other places, the electorate, the voters, have quite some time to get to know the individuals they are voting for. And so that shifts the emphasis from the party to the individual
candidate.
Don't we need a lot more time to get to know the candidates we're casting our votes for? What should change in this electoral process, the dynamics, to make that possible?
I think you have to say, I am, before one can say, thou art. Politicians, especially candidates who want to contest election, has the duty to market, to sell himself to the electorate, not just the electorate going out to look for people. So the candidates should do a lot. There are so many people who are going to the polls without knowing who to vote for. They only know about the parties. At times, some parties are not known.
And the individuals are solid.
And the individuals, so that's what I'm saying. So the candidate should be able to start on time to indicate that I want my people. I want to do something to my people.
But doesn't that suggest that the Electoral Act as amended 2010 should be revisited? Because it stipulates exactly when you are supposed to begin your campaign. And that time is relatively too short.
Well, we think so many things. Campaign does not begin only when the authorities that are regulating it will say, okay, begin campaign. If I want to govern, if I want to be, to do something for my people, to contest for an election, start from time. In fact, it's a lifetime something. Start from your home. Start from years. Begin with identifying yourself with things, social amenities or things that you can do to develop your environment, develop your people. That is, in fact, for me, the most important part or aspect of the campaign. Not only when the authorities like INEC say, okay, begin from today to campaign. No, it shouldn't be like that. Start the education from the scratch.
You know, sir, we've talked about voter apathy, particularly in the southern part of the country. And some people have suggested that why that is so is that the citizenry believe that the government doesn't really care for them. They don't care for their needs. They don't even know their needs. What's your take?
Yeah, it is true. There has been this series of agitations. There are a series of agitations that certain sects of this country are neglected. Most things are done, amenities are spread, but certain areas in appointments or whatsoever are neglected. So distribution of amenities, like you talk about southern part of the country, people from the south or even the southeast, government should try to find out what is that thing that we are not doing that these people are complaining for. Is it social amenities? Is it infrastructure? If you tune on the radio or television most of the times, if you talk about federal presence, I can tell you that some parts of this country are not looked after in these areas. So when this distribution of amenity is even, then the problems will...
Let me just interrupt you, David. I know that you are eager to make your contribution, but there's a report to be taken. Lagos, officially called the Center of Excellence, has over the years become a mini Nigeria due to its cosmopolitan nature. This makes it attractive to people from diverse cultures and ethnic affiliations. Jane Ojukwu examines how Lagos State has evolved to being one of the most cities on the continent. Her report.
With a staggering population of over 20 million and still counting, historically, Lagos, originally known as Eko, has existed for many centuries.
Lagos started as a farming settlement, and as far back as some have traced it to 15th century, 16th century, but as far back as the 17th century, before the Benue invasion.
How did Lagos metamorphose into its present status?
About 300 years, there was this transatlantic slave trade. So Lagos was one of the routes, that the Europeans used to move the black into Europe. This also contributed to the movement of people to Lagos, and then the movement of the Igbos and others to Lagos. And the fact that Lagos was the first colony, it gave it an attraction. Later, a set of Africans that had been taken away by the Europeans into slavery, returned to Lagos. You have some quarters in Lagos, Brazilian quarters and the rest.
Why is Lagos the center of attraction, compelling many to leave their home state to come and reside in it?
The early settler encouraged other tribes to come in because of the economic significance of Lagos, where we have the seaport and other job opportunity.
It is easy to come across clusters of people from different ethnic groups in some locations. Their presence adds beauty to the state, just as the saying that goes, unity in diversity.
Lagos as a state have accommodated them very well. Do your business as long as you are paying your tax.
As they would do, they work. They enjoy in Lagos. No any problem. Everybody they do business as he like.
Lagos is a nice place. A place everybody accepts each other. Despite the tribe, everything about Lagos is just good. It's a place you can make all the money if you are a hardworking person.
Lagos is home to every Nigerian. Its doors are always opened to newcomers, which is why population growth is astronomical. The dwellers who are optimistic that they would strike gold in the land of commerce never hesitate to demand from government a corresponding growth in the infrastructure in order to make living more conducive, affordable and bearable. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
Jane, thank you very much for that report. That leads me to a very interesting angle, cultural hubs. Both of you are of Igbo extraction. And so there's this debate. It didn't come to the fore, but it played out in this past elections that you are contesting the ownership. Because we say Lagos is no man's land, because Lagosians are very liberal, you believe that as long as you have the money, you can do whatever you like. And that gradually you're creeping into politics, you are trading your support for positions politically. Give me your comment on that, sir.
I think I don't want to be dragged into that argument of trying to prove that Igbos also own Lagos. I think the eastern part of the country has about 5 states. There are enough local governments, enough tribes to develop. There's a lot, if you are building skyscrapers, industries, whatever you are building, there's enough space in Igbo land to do it. You build them there and attract. So I don't want to go so deep in that area because I always want to advise people not to go into that because it may not do us any good, maybe in the nearest future.
David, your thoughts?
I look at it from the angle of the fact that we are Nigerians first of all. Before we begin to bring in those sentiments or arguments talking about Igbos, whether they're owners of Lagos, or we should first of all look at ourselves with the eyes of nationalism and patriotism. Igbos are hardworking set of people. They go anywhere they go, they try to make their impact as much as possible. Now, Lagos have people who have been on the land from time. And even the penetration of Igbos, if we are looking at our nationality from the viewpoint of that nationalistic movement, we are one, though we are from different parts of Nigeria. If an Igbo man is in Lagos for a long time and has made necessary impact, has spread tentacles and wings that, you know, he's recognized and all that. What stops him from, apart from exercising the right to place people who should be leaders in Lagos, what stops him from contesting an election in Lagos? I do not think there is any barrier that should be. There is nothing like ownership of Lagos or no. No, we are talking of impact, nationalistic impact. Anywhere you are as a Nigerian, you are a citizen of Nigeria. If you have made the necessary impact that can make you contest for an election, you can. There are certain things that we look at when we want to put somebody in the position of leadership. So it doesn't make any difference.
Dr. Kure, because I'm going back to this issue of voter apathy, and the mindset seems to be, what's the point in my voting? My vote doesn't count. My government at different levels don't care for my interest. And some people have extended the argument to say that a foreigner, to a large extent, has more privilege than you in your own country. A case in point is what is happening in the railway compound somewhere in Ebutemeta. Chief Okore, you live there. What are the issues?
Thank you very much. There is what I look at as recolonization. Recolonization.
Explain that.
It is very, very unheard of if an estate or a community which is established for citizens, or by right, or by law, or by anything, you want to ask those people to leave, to quit, then because of that, because of the interest you have in foreign investment, then you lease out of whatever, in whatever terms you give these places out without considering the citizens, those who have served in that community, in that organization, all their lifetime, with their families, served after 35 years, and you ask them to leave so that interest of a foreign partner or organization could
Let's be a little
strong.
specific here. The railway compound, as it is called, has been in existence in that area for over 50 years. And it has served the interest of those working, but over the years there have been some changes, and some of it was managed by people who are external to the Nigeria Railway, but basically it was meant for the Nigeria Railways. And I hear that the Chinese, who are trying to help us rebuild our railway system, are interested in taking over that estate. Is that true?
Well, it is true. It is true. Although there is an extent of denials or a kind of, yes, denials, which either the authorities of the Chinese or the government, but it is true that there has been threat. Look, in 2016, there was a court order, National Industrial Court, that compelled the railway management or the Ministry of Transportation to comply with the monetization policy of 2005, whereby the occupants of railway staff are allowed to own the houses or the quarters. 13 years after this was taken, decision was taken by government in 2005, nothing was done until the staff concerned had to go to court. When they went to court, after 5 years, they got the judgment in 2016.
Okay, I just brought that as a case in instance to highlight whether these are the kind of things that lead to voter apathy.
Yeah, because of course, I monitored the voting in railway compound, where you have families who have lived there, like you have said, for over 30. As a matter of point of, putting things in perspective, railway compound there has existed for over 100 years.
Okay. But very quickly, sir, because time, unfortunately, is not on our side. That would be an issue for another day. Let's get back to the electoral process. These set of elections have been the very last. What lessons going forward have we learnt and should be encrypted in our developmental process?
Any political party who wants to take up power should do so in the interest of the citizenry, not in the political interest or personal interest, personal aggrandizement or for political appointments of party members. First of all, you should be able to find out what actually the people need. The basic needs of life which people are talking about. Do they have water? Do they have power? All this.
Okay, David, there seems to be, people say there's a social contract between our representatives and us, we who elect them to be there. But that contract is really never kept. How do we hold our leaders, the people that we elect, accountable?
Unfortunately, the theory of social contract it exists mostly in theory, especially when it comes to Nigerian politicians. I don't want to say when it comes to our democracy, because it's the perspective of our politicians, where the way they see politics and when going into politics. Of course, ideally, it should be a social contract and all that. But the way it is seeming like it's taking another turn. How do we make them more accountable? I think that's where the voicing.
Say that in 10 seconds.
In 10 seconds. That is where the voicing out comes into play. We should at all times continue to make our voice known. What we do not like, from the print media to the social media and everything. Now, I wanted to comment on the lessons learned in this election. Very important. One of them is the aspect of technology. Technology. In other climes, technology is advancing swiftly, and we are still talking of using ballot papers and putting and all that, where there is a system that can work better. So I'm looking forward to in Nigeria in the next 8 years, where we have technology in voting patterns. That is one. Number two,
David, I'm sorry to interrupt the flow of your thoughts, but I'm being told that usually time is not on our side.
Very well.
David was a human rights activist and lawyer. thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Chief Festus Okorie, the Public Relations Officer and Head Publicity, the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Lagos Branch, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you again sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you.
MKA, Muhammad Kudu Abubakar, thank you for accommodating us. It's over to you in Abuja.
Cannot but accommodate you because you are at the center of excellence. Bayo Adeusi. Back to our Abuja Decide studio here in Abuja. Our guests are still here. Ahmed Raji, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, legal practitioner, of course, a learned silk, Barrister Marisara Kogo Umar, and do I say politician Ibrahim Modibo? Yes. He's still here also. But very quickly, we will go to Imo State to get an update on collation exercise. Kingsley Onanu is standing by.
Okay. I'm right inside the Collation Center of Imo State Governorship election, located right inside the Imo State INEC headquarters along Port Harcourt Road. As you can see now, this is the table and the stage where the returning officer will be announcing the result. But for now, there's no result available as collation officers were dispatched to their various locations this morning by the resident electoral commissioner in charge of Imo State, Professor Francis Ezon. According to Francis Ezon, who briefed newsmen this morning, said the announcement of the governorship election according to him,
well, we appear to be losing the Kingsley there. His audio is seasoned, and of course we cannot continue to have him. My guests are still here. The issues are, of course, still open for discussion. We listened very attentively to the issues in our Lagos studio, which appear to be a continuation of what we have discussed there. But if you remember, I said we will be looking at legal issues in relation to the electoral process as we continue with our discussions, analysis, and observations. Any moment from now, we may go to Adamawa. And I'm told Adamawa is ready with collation, and anyway, before they get set for us to join them, let's look at filing of a petition out of time. What does this mean, Leonard Sik?
Well, under the Electoral Act, the petition must be filed within 21 days of the declaration of the result. And the position of the court has been that if you exceed it by just 1 minute, your petition is out. So there is no room for extension of time to file petition complaining
because I've resigned
about a return. So you must do everything possible to ensure that your petition is filed within 21 days from the date the return is made.
Within 21 days?
Yes. Anything after 21 days, it becomes statute barred.
But we're going to go into Adamawa. We'll join Adamawa now to get update on coalition exercise. We are told so far 3 local governments have turned in their results.
Tell us a brief about yourself and the kind of assignment you have carried out.
Thank you. My name is Engineer Professor Joseph A. Ampo. I went to Mayoberwa as a returning officer for the gubernatorial election.
Hello, please, can we have one house, please? Please, if you don't mind. We are receiving the results from Mayoberwa.
And then for the returning officer for House of Assembly. So the 2 results are already here. Okay. Thank you very much. My Obenwa consists of about 12 wards.
I think INEC always give us exact figure. So yes, this approximation is not so good for us. Just give us exact 12 wards. 12 wards. And then the breakdown of the 12 wards are as follows.
No, just give us the okay, the total. Okay, thank you. Now, the total registered voters, 97582.
Again?
97582.
Thank you.
And then number of accredited voters, 51432. 51432. Now scored by each political party. A party, A13. A13. AA 6. AA 6. AAC 101. AAC 101. ABP 8. ABP 8. ACD 120. ACD 120. ADC 14327. ADC 14327. AGA 86. AGA 86. ANN 88. ANN 88. ANP 27. ANP 27. APC 14198. APC 14198. APM 23. APM 23. APP 8. APP 8. CAP 3, CAP 3, DA 9, DA 9, FJP 2, FJP 2, GPN 8, GPN 8, JMPP 2, JMPP 2, KP 11, KP 11, MPN 14, MPN 14, NCP 15, NCP 15, PDP 19897, PDP 19897, PPA 82, PPA 82, PPC 28, PPC 28, PPN 125, PPN 125, PT 6, PT 6, RBNP 9, RBNP 9, SDP 912, SDP 912, YPP 7, YPP 7, ZIP 0, ZIP, ZLP, sorry, 0. Now total vote cast, total voting votes, 50135. Total valid votes, 50135. Rejected votes, 1146. Rejected votes, 1146. Total votes cast, 51281. Rejected votes, 1146. Rejected votes, 1146. Total votes cast, 51281. Total vote cast, 51281.
If you don't mind, read out the numbers again. Just the numbers. All the parties according to the call.
Okay.
Apart from this, from A.
Okay.
From party A to
A. No.
Yes.
Party A, 1 3.
Just read it. Just the figures.
Okay. 1 3 6 101 8 120 120.
Another 120.
No.
Once.
Okay, only once.
Only once.
Okay. 14327.
14327.
86. 88. 27. 14198.
14198.
23. 8. 3. 9. 2. 8. 2. 1 1. 1 4. 1 5. 19897.
19897.
82. 28. 125. 6. 9. 912. 7. And finally 0.
So we have 50135. So 135. Is your own like that?
Yes.
It's correct. It's correct, sir.
Okay, rejected votes?
Rejected votes 1146.
Total?
Yes, total rejected votes.
Total vote cast.
Total vote cast 51,281.
Again?
Rejected vote.
Already total.
Okay, the total 51,281.
Thank you. Any cancellation?
No cancellation.
Election took place in all the people.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. How many agents signed your results sheets?
The agents, there are 2 that signed. 3. This is there are 2.
Thank you.
Thank you. This one. For the House of Rep. Thank you. Okay.
Well, those are collation exercises going on there in Adamawa State. We are told 3 local government areas' results have been turned in. The collation officers have formally announced their own results, and the remaining local government, we believe, are on the way to the collation center in Yola. When we get updates and they give us information on their readiness to give us those updates, we'll go back to them. Not just Adamawa, but all the state centers and our various Nigeria Decide studios. For now, our guests are still here. Ahmed Raji, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, legal practitioner. The Leonard Silk is still here. Barrister Manesara Kogo Umar, International Analyst on Democracy, Good Governance, and Nation Building is also here. He's also a barrister at law. And of course, my colleague, a journalist, a public affairs analyst, and of course, former vice presidential candidate of the Grassroots Development Party of Nigeria, GDPN, Ibrahim Modibo. is still here. Ibrahim Modibo is formally announced his resignation, but I'm not sure INEC appended its signature to that or acceptance to that resignation. But legal practitioners are here. That kind of resignation, how effective is it? Seeing that it took place within the realm of just a few days to the election.
No,
about 4 weeks.
Whether it's 4 weeks, it's an illegal resignation. Because in tandem with Section 30 of the Electoral Act, there is a limited period within which you can withdraw your candidature. And you cannot withdraw your candidature just at the studio of NTA during a program.
No,
you just announce. Listen to me. I am protected.
No, you are missing the point.
And then,
Let me correct you.
And then I'm coming.
You are missing
the point is that at the time when already we have already finished the issue of even candidates, that is the party primaries. We have even closed that chapter. We were at the level of even INEC has started deploying election materials to polling centers. Then somebody will come.
And his name was on the ballot.
Then somebody will come out. Now, it's just like this case, about 30 parties said they were withdrawing, aligning to endorsing a candidate in Kaduna State. I look at it, I said, where are we going? Where are we going? But is a frontline politician, maybe it's a new innovation in our political dynamics. So we should take it as a step to the next.
But let's hear from him so that we can quickly go to
Another Silk, I think I need protection.
You are protected.
Thank you very much.
You are protected.
You see, the beauty of democracy is the ability of a participant to have fair hearing.
I think there is freedom of association. Which is Section 21 of the Constitution.
Exactly. Yes. So about Lana Silk, about a month to elections, I went and addressed a world press conference. And I also was invited, or I went and met who that matters in Buhari support group. They accepted me. They gave me the maximum support of me, trying to say that my candidacy as the vice president candidate of Grassroots Democratic Party, I have resigned. Because I saw the virtues in the philosophical dictates of the APC and its presidential candidate. I said, look, never in the history of modern democracy have we seen a man that has got to acceptability with credibility and also purposeful leadership like President Muhammadu Buhari under this dispensation. I have not seen any northerner that can beat Buhari in the election anywhere. That is why I said, look, I am aligning with almost 1 million supporters of me from the Northeast Zone to go and vote for President Muhammadu Buhari. And that is why today we have won.
Are those 1 million supporters verifiable?
And the time of the contest, you didn't see Buhari?
No. There was no scene of Buhari.
As of now, have you formally written the letter of resignation to your party?
Look, the issue is, but it's, I'm not a court of law.
You may have to come here. In line with legal issues that we say we'll be looking at of the electoral process, you had told us that there is a time bar of 21 days.
That is correct.
Of filing a petition out of time.
That's correct.
And when it is beyond that 21 days, you cannot file any petition.
You cannot.
Let's look at the implication of this matter, which I think is related to the issue of Segun Abraham versus Rotimi Akeredolu.
I think the Supreme Court has decided the matter, and I think their holding is to the effect that the appeal was filed out of time, and therefore the matter extinguished. So that is what the Supreme Court has held, as far as that appeal is concerned. So it's like the appeal came in late.
I see. So what it means that Rotimi Akeredolu is home and dry?
It's home and dry. He should enjoy his seat.
Let's now join Bilkisu Abdulrazak Oduoye in NT Abuja to give us update on the area council elections within the Federal Capital Territory. Hello, Bilkisu.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mohammed Kudu Abubakar. Yes, we are indeed ready with the results of some area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Decides Studios of NTA Abuja Channel 5. It is the day after the much anticipated FCT area council elections held every 3 years. And this time happened to coincide with the general elections, that is gubernatorial elections in 29 states of the country. Now, results have been declared already in 3 of the area councils of the FCT, while election for 2 area councils have been declared inconclusive. We are still awaiting our correspondent from Kwali because we don't really have any strong feelers from that axis as yet. But we shall keep you posted as soon as we have feelers from Kwali on that. We also have a guest in the studio, and I'll be talking with Ismaila Babatunde. He is of the Connected Development Code and one of the election observers in the Federal Capital Territory for yesterday's area council elections. You'll get to meet with him and we'll chat after we bring you the results and news from the area council elections. Now, we're beginning with Amak, where the incumbent chairman of the Abuja Municipal Area Council, Abdullahi Adamu Candido, has been declared winner of the area council election. Candido defeated his main opponent, Vivian Anazodo of the People's Democratic Party, with a margin of 17,785 votes. Habiba Oladipo will tell us more about this.
It was a long wait for the result collated at the wards level of Amak to get to the INEC office in Kano for the final collation and announcement of results. Party agents were, however, seen in groups calculating and discussing possible outcome of the elections. One after the other, coalition officers from the 12 wards of Amak started trooping in with their results.
APC 3306.
ACD 5. AD 3.
After the presentation of the ward results, which was keenly contested by 29 candidates of various political parties, the area council returning officer, Professor Muhammadu Umar Ngaji of the University of Abuja, declared Abdullahi Adamu Candido as winner after he pulled a total of 53,538 votes.
In Gariki ward, results from 2 polling units were cancelled. The total number of registered voters in the 2 polling units affected is 5,316.
Chairman Abuja Municipal Area Council, Abdullahi Adamu Candido, who was re-elected, and some party agents shared their thoughts on the exercise.
The election took place with all sense of civility. Everybody, can testify to the fact that this election was won around town. And the fact that we emerged victorious does not suggest that we're well and above everybody. But I think we should ask those who lose to come on board, join us so that we can pilot the affairs of this area council.
My party is not going to contest this one in court, no. We're going to accept the results and we're going to start preparing for the next elections.
For the INEC aspect of it is very conducive, and we are comfortable with that.
In the wee hours of Sunday morning, the incumbent chairman of Abuja Municipal Area Council, Abdullahi Adamu Candido, was declared winner of the area council elections here in Amak. After defeating his closest rival, Vivian Anazodo, Abdullahi pulled a total vote of 53,583 votes, while PDP's candidates polled 35,753 votes. Those with complaints have been advised to channel their grievances to the court of law. I am Habiba Oladipo, and it's back to you in the studio.
Well, thank you very much, Habiba Oladipo. I think you deserve to get a bit of rest now. It's been very hectic. Now, moving on, the chairman of Abaji Area Council, Abdullahi Abdurrahman Ajia, has also been declared winner of the Abaji chairmanship election by the returning officer, Professor Simon Malankawi. Abdullahi Ajia, who covered the election in the council, has the announcement.
It was indeed a keen contest between the incumbent chairman and his closest contender.
Well, this is how it has been at the INEC Collation Center for Abuja Area Council Chairmanship election. And after several hours of collation of results from 10 political wards, the returning officer, Professor Simon Malankawe, declared the APC candidate and the incumbent chairman of the council as the winner of the election.
I, Professor Simon Malankawe, hereby certify that one, that I was the returning officer of the Abuja Area Council Chairmanship election held on the 9th day of March 2019, that the election was contested, that the candidate received the following votes. Abdurrahman Ajia, male, the candidate for APC, got 13,442 votes. Ashafa Inua Mohammed, male, the candidate for PDP, got 10,473 votes. Therefore, that Abdurrahman Ajia of APC, having satisfied the requirement of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Signed by me.
For the Abuja Area Council councillorship seats, the APC won 8 wards, while the PDP won 2 wards. Abdullahi Ajia.
All right, we can see jubilation there. Thank you very much, Abdullahi Ajia. I'm being joined now in the studio by Ismaila Babatunde, election observer and FCT coordinator for Connected Development. He's going to be sharing his thoughts and experience on the field with us today. Thank you for coming to Nigeria Decides studio of NTA Abuja.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It's my pleasure.
Results of the area council election started trickling in early hours Sunday. I want you to now see the results from Amak and Abaji. They've already been declared, with the incumbents being returned. Any surprises by the results?
Well, for us at Connected Development, frankly, we are not partisan, so we are not actually interested in the result.
So what are you interested in?
Yeah, we are interested in the process and the guidelines set by INEC. If those processes and guidelines are being followed strictly by the INEC. And also, is there any police harassment? Why voters are not coming out? Is there vote buying? Is there vote selling? So is there card reader issues? So those are the process that those are the things that we track and follow.
Okay, those are the things you track and follow. So from what your experiences must have been on the field yesterday, did you witness or experience any of such happening?
Yeah, I personally witnessed that of the low voters turnout. But that of the guidelines or other processes are really being followed strictly by the INEC officials. And I must commend them for their effort.
All right. Now, during the first phase of the general elections in the FCT, the PDP won all the National Assembly seats. But now the APC seems to be winning the chairmanship elections from the results that have been declared so far. Now, what I want you to do is not to talk about who won or didn't win. Can you compare the voting pattern between the February 23rd and yesterday, March 9th elections?
Yes, the February 23 elections, there was a high voters turnout. As early as 4 a.m., people started coming out to cast their vote, started coming out to the polling unit where they will exercise their franchise. So they come out in a quite an amazing way. I was really impressed. But that of the March 9th. The reverse was the case. There was a very low turnout, and I believe so many people really went back, maybe because they are not really being satisfied with the outcome of the result in the February 23 election.
Oh, you think that may have played a part in people not coming out to vote like they did in the previous... Well, the conduct was adjudged generally peaceful for us in the FCT. But then, come to collation centers, and then you witness pockets of violence in some of the councils. What is your take on this?
Well, my take on this is particularly, in the February 23 election, the number of people who came out to cast their vote, and those people ensured that they followed the process. till the collation center. Now, in the 9th election, so many people didn't come out in their numbers to cast their vote. So there are very little number of people who came out for the vote. So that gives rooms for the perpetrators to see it as an avenue, because they can actually outnumber those in the present. They can actually outnumber them, so they can outnumber and take over the whole process. So they see it as an avenue because there's a loophole. There are not much people that are following this the voting distance collation centers.
All right. We'll just hold it briefly here. We'll continue with the results from the area councils, and we'll continue our discussion after this. Now, Bari Area Council elections was declared inconclusive by the returning officer, Professor Wesley Nafada, as crisis erupted at 2 out of the 10 wards in the council. Let's take that.
Declaring the 2019 Buhari Area Council elections inconclusive at the Buhari INEC office, the returning officer Wesley Nafada says a new date will be communicated by the INEC for rerun of election in the 2 wards where pockets and irregularities were recorded. Professor Wesley said elections at the 2 wards, Kawu and Igu wards, were cancelled as a result of records of disruption of election process and instances of overvoting in some of the polling units in the wards.
All right, so we see that the election in Bari Area Council was declared inconclusive. Now, that is something that we're actually talking about before going to take that report. You do know that, yes, we had low voter turnout, so the thugs saw that opportunity. However, before the elections, we got assurances by the FCT Police Command and NSCDC. What should have been their role in this?
Well, for me, I think they tried their best, but like I said the other time, they will be outnumbered. Because we can't have like 20 to 50 policemen in one particular polling unit. It is not possible. So because they need to put them also in other various polling units. So these people have already seen it. Right from morning, they must have been planning their own strategy. So they've seen it that this is a chance, and there are no other supporters that can actually guide them, that can actually create a support for them. So they see it. Those are basically, I think that is what they see, and they are actually to come for them.
Okay, so we'll now move on to Kuje Area Council, where the elections of the area council elections there was also declared inconclusive by the INEC returning officer of Kuje, Professor Titus Ibekwe. Ainaja Ota will tell us more about this.
Behind me is one of the vehicles of INEC whose glass was shattered due to violence in some polling units that marred the results of the election, and it is declared inconclusive until a rerun is done.
Returning officer Professor Titus Ibekwe noted that the supplementary elections will be conducted in some polling units where pockets of violence were recorded, and gave reasons for declaring the elections inconclusive.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can see that the difference between these two political parties is by far less than the number of votes from the cancelled polling booths. For this reason, there is no winner. So this is an inconclusive result.
However, collation officers of 9 out of the 10 wards of Kuje Area Council collated and declared results.
At the end of the collation, there was no clear winner, because even though the man that has the majority vote had the 1/4 of 2/3 of the votes, but the difference between him and the next person was very small compared to the number of cancelled registered voters in the cancelled units. first of all have to submit the result to my resident electoral commissioner. He's the one that will tell me when, he's the one that will set the date for the rerun.
INEC Electoral Officer Kuje Area Council Zainab Gbefi further says the date for the rerun will be announced later.
It's over now to the studio.
Thank you very much, Ayina Jalta. Now, moving on, the incumbent chairman, Adamu Mustafa Danzei of the All Progressives Congress, has been declared winner of the Gwagwalada Area Council elections of the FCT, having polled 21,960 votes to defeat his closest rival of the SDP, Abubakar Giri, who polled 14,105 votes, as announced by the returning officer, Professor Sani Saka.
Daniel Dokas of A Party received 24 votes. Zakari Abdulkadir Abbas of ACD received 101 votes. Hamidu Makama of ADC received 93 votes. Livinus Divine N received of ANDP received 46 votes. Haman Waziri of ANRP received 92 votes. Adams Mustafa Danze of APC received 21,960 votes. Suleiman Mohammed of APDA received 86 votes. Jibrin B.A. Gani of Abga received 334 votes. A.K. Julius of C4C received 8 votes. Danjuma Amadou of CAP received 298 votes. Chukwu Emmanuel of DA received 24 votes. Amedu F of FJP received 149 votes. Benjamin Sampson of JMPP received 68 votes. Mohammed Idris of LP received 16 votes. Osilama Anthony Eshoha of NCP received 47 votes. Mohammed Sani Ibrahim of NRM received 56 votes. Ibrahim Mohammed Chi of PDP received 8,153 votes. Haruna Usman Tanko of PT received 48 votes. Abubakar Jibrin Giri of SDP received 14,105 votes. Tijani Usman Shehu of YPP received 41 votes. Isa Mohammed Abuja of ZLP received 34 votes. Number 4, that Adams Mustafa Danze of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner as returned elected. Signed this day, 9/3/2019, by Sani Saka.
Meanwhile, for Kwali Area Council, the chairmanship position for the Kwali Area Council has been declared inconclusive by the returning officer, Professor Rebecca Ndana. This follows some irregularities in the results during last Saturday's election at the polling unit 005 at Sheda Sarki in Kilankwa Ward. Shaibu Noze Yakubu is actually reporting that a rerun will be conducted at the said polling unit on a date to be announced by the FCT INEC. Well, we have to thank my guests Ismail Ababatunde, an election observer and FCT coordinator for Connected Development, for coming to share his thoughts with us and his experiences this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. And well, that is all we have for now. From the 6 area councils, we have 3 results announced and 3 inconclusive. It's now back to you, Mohammed Kudu Abubakar, for the continuation of Nigeria Decides.
Thank you very much, Abdulrazak Odoye, Bilkisu Abdulrazak Odoye. Results of the 6 area councils declared, 3 results declared, and 3 declared inconclusive. Our Leonard Silk, what are the implications of this? I'll start with you.
Well, there are several reasons that may be responsible for inconclusiveness in an election. Maybe some polling units are outstanding, maybe, and then when you look at the...
In this case, they said there were irregularities in some polling units in Buari, in Kuje, and in Kwali.
That's correct. And then, which means the impact of those areas with irregularities will be much on the result. Otherwise, they will have gone ahead to announce it. I think it is better to get it right than to do a wishy-washy job, and then leaving parties to be going to tribunal to say, oh,
and,
this
and
is
to
this.
become your clients.
Well, every professional must have to eat. So I think so far so good. INEC has done well, and let's give them the opportunity to conclude it. Since they say it is inconclusive, let us give them the opportunity to conclude it, and then we listen to the final product.
Barrister Manasara.
Yes, I think I'm aligning with him. The position of the law is that where the cancellation polling centers, the projected aggregate of the votes outweigh the difference between the 2 leading parties, the natural position for INEC to take is to cancel to make it inconclusive, within which for them now to decide on what will be the final position. And then FCT, so far so good. The election has been peaceful. I don't think there is any report of any violence or any misgiving. And then FCT residents have really shown some elements of dynamism, being it, I don't want to use the word a no man's land, but being it the concentration center of cosmopolitan Nigeria. If you take the pattern of election 2 weeks ago, that is the National Assembly and the presidential election, there's a diametric shift or change in the picture of the outcome regarding party performances. So some parties have really beefed up, exploited the opportunity of the 2 weeks difference to really do more robust homework to enable them.
Can you be more specific?
Yes. PDP got the dominance, for example, at the presidential and National Assembly election at the FCT. And then that has really gingered up the APC machinery to such an extent that they have been able to make some inroads regarding the conservation of the areas of their dominance. In other words, AMAC, for example, if you take, they are conserving their dominance there, which was the different case. PDP defeated APC at the National Assembly elections during a fortnight ago elections. So they have really seen the relevance for them to exploit the window of the two weeks, bearing in mind that for a politician, every second is significant and things can diametrically change when you change your strategies.
Ibrahim Modibo, do you align with Barrister Manasara?
Yes, I align with the Silk and Barrister Manasara in trying to state that in politics, there are a lot of things that come into play when it comes to adjudging an election inconclusive. It could be violence that could, under normal circumstances, affect the result. It could also be because there are some overvoting, as we've seen in so many places in the country. So these are all dynamics. And also, if you look at the gap between the votes that, under a normal circumstance, between some of the council areas, if it has substantially affected the outcome of what they have done, if it will affect, if there's a projection that what has been cancelled will affect the outcome, they could make it inconclusive. However, there are fundamental questions here to ask. What happened during the presidential election and what is happening now? Now, out of 3 results, APC won 3. And I want to congratulate them for putting up a very good, gallant fight, you know, to defeat PDP in all the 3 council areas. Especially, I know...
And they're all incumbent chairmen.
They're all incumbent. And, you know, most of the chairmen, especially Candido, I know he has performed very well. And although I don't know the other chairman...
Abdurrahman Ajia is for Abaji.
Yes, I don't know them. But I know Candido, although I've never met him one-on-one. But I can see what he has been able to do in most of the development areas, you know, within the council. So I think the people have seen wisdom in bringing him back. I commend him for putting up this fight. But then, what happened during the presidential election that APC lost in the FCT? I am sure that the APC as a political party must have gone back to a drawing board to strategize, to look at the pitfalls. Where have we erred and where have we been able to put up this thing? So I'm sure after going back to the drawing board, I think they have come out now in strong distance. And I'm sure even with about these 3 inconclusive local governments, there's every possibility that if they put up a very good fight and then go on mass mobilization, because mobilization of the polity is very, very important, especially the door-to-door mobilization, which has been undertaken by the party. Although, you know, APC is not in their characters to be spending money on campaigns. But under this circumstance, that contact with the grassroots, going door to door to appeal to the culture of these people to make sure that they vote APC into power so as to conform with the distance of the national level. That's why if you look at most of these states that we're going to look at today, there is what we call contagious syndrome. Even during the military era, especially in those days of colonial period and then coming to military era, if a country embarks on coup, if they go to meet in either Sandhurst or the other military district, when there's contagious syndrome, when they meet, they discuss about their state, they will come back to another state and organize a coup. So now, under this democracy, you find out that the state...
going to affect this
exactly.
time.
Because of the presidential...
Anyway, we'll have to leave it there for now. There is also the issue of the agent of the PDP in Amak declaring that they may accept the result and will not go to court. We'll look at all those implications, the line of seekers here. But let's quickly join Demola in Makudi. Benue decides studio in Makudi with some updates on the collation of results. Demola, over to you.
Thank you, Kudu, and welcome to Makudi, Nigeria Decides Studios. And I have with me in the studio today the Deputy Inspector General of Police, North Central for the election, Godwin Nwobodo. He was with us here yesterday. He's here again today. Mr. Nwobodo, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Also, our regular analyst, Dr. Daniel Bo, Department of Mass Communication, Benue State University. You're welcome again.
It's a pleasure having me again.
And we have an observer, John Ode, for Transparency Advocacy. You're welcome to Nigeria Decides Studios in Makodi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. But before we commence our discussion, let's just take these one or two reports. And from our correspondent, Charles Abba, he's at INEC Benue State Collation Center, and now brings us situation report from there.
We are right in the hall, which is meant for the collation of the gubernatorial election here in Benue State, and it is right here at the Independent National Electoral Commission's Secretariat. We have been expecting results from the various 23 local government areas of Benue State. We heard that some of the results are beginning to trickle in, but collation has not commenced yet. I have here in the hall, sitting patiently to participate in this exercise, one of the party agents from the People's Trust Party. What would you say about the situation at the moment?
Well, so far so good. We have not experienced any hitches here in the Secretariat. We are hopeful that all the results will arrive here as anticipated, and we are waiting patiently.
Do you see any delays in the process?
Well, like I said, not yet, because the local government, some of them are far off. And as at yesterday, by the time we left here at about 1 a.m., we discovered that the collation process was still at the local government secretariats, and we expect that any moment from now, they should begin to get to this point.
Well, that is what the agent of the People's Trust Party has just said. I know you have been waiting.
Yes.
What exactly is the situation now?
Well, we're waiting for the returning officer and the resident electoral commissioner, to kickstart the process. Results have been trickling in from across the local governments, and we expect it for the returning officers at the local government who are on the ground here. So far, 5 or so have arrived. We expect that the process will start soon. So the returns from the local government are faster than it was 2 weeks ago.
Thank you very much. That's the entry by one of the agents. There is an improvement on the present elections being conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission. But members of the public may wish to know that 32 gubernatorial candidates are in this race, and 454 state assembly contestants are also slugging it out to ensure that they get in there into the hallowed chamber. And with that, I come to you in the studio, Demola.
Thank you, Charles, for that situation report at the State Collation Center. And we want to say that from the already perceived that Benue State will be one of the flashpoints for violence in this election, actually been able to live up to it, because there are eruption of violence from one collation center. And if we take this result before we even, okay, let's look at this this report. They will now come and discuss the issue of violence. The Independent National Electoral Commission has rescheduled the governorship and state assembly elections in some parts of 4 local government areas of Benue State. Resident Electoral Commissioner Netawe Yawalda disclosed this after monitoring the exercise in Makurdi, the state capital.
We are in the office to find out the true situation about the report we got from Mbalon, a community in West local government area, that there was a security challenge there. And that is exactly what we want to clear from the resident electoral commissioner at the moment.
We're early in the morning, between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. in Ballot Council Ward. A group of armed men attacked the council ward. They dispersed the ad hoc staff that were in, in that place and destroyed every election materials in that council ward. According to Section 47 of the regulation and guideline for 2019, election in that place will be scheduled.
We were able to arrest the situation on time. We recovered some. And what we have done in conjunction with INEC is to audit what we have so that we can know what has been destroyed vis-a-vis what was gotten ab initio. And with that, the INEC will be able to make an informed decision. We have equally decided to up our security around that area.
In Yandef North, in Boko local government, early in the morning, a group of armed men attacked and dispersed our ad hoc staff, but no election materials was touched. We regrouped them and took them back to the Iraq Center, but still they were attacked again the second time. We rescheduled the election in that place accordingly. Then in Taka local government, in in what we call Bayembe in Mange 2 polling unit. They attack that very polling unit while the ad hoc staff with the being conveyed to the poll for the polls before 8 o'clock. 4 ad hoc staff have been taken hostage along with the election materials. Police are busy investigating along with other security agencies to track where the staff are, and if we get the staff and the status of the materials, we work towards also the election in Taka local government in these 2 polling units. And the good news is that as early as 8 o'clock, we have 97.5% polls open all across the entire state.
Away from all we have reported, Demola, it is back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Charles. We now, from that report, sir, we have seen that there were violence here and there, and even early morning today, we were hearing of ballot boxes being snatched and people being killed in some local government area. Now, what is the situation of things now? Let me now, the DIG.
Well, this Benue state is calm. If you check what we are getting from the news elsewhere, you will know that relatively, I do not think that Benue state has lived up to that billing that is a flashpoint. I think some of the security measures we put in place adequately checked what will have been a more chaotic situation than what we have at hand.
Because, I mean, if he said it's not a flashpoint, there are lots of cases of burning, and because even today we heard that at, is it at Boko, that some houses were burnt this morning and people were killed. We heard about 2 people killed. Was it yesterday or late night on Friday?
Well, with respect to Boko, we have not received any situation reports to the effect that houses were burnt or that ballot boxes were snatched. Yes, we have a recorded case of homicide in one of the local governments. This incident took place. It took place a night before the, and it was in Guma. I think His Excellency Governor Tom of Benue comes from that local government. The particular area is, if my pronunciation is correct, is Shamno, around Obajima area. And the area is a deserted area, perhaps as a result of the consequences of the herdsmen and farmers clashes in the states. And this father and son went to remove their windows and their doors. Apparently, perhaps they have moved to a new area, erected something, and they want to use the windows and the doors in that house to fix in the new, their new place. There were sporadic sounds of gunshots. Police responded, and unfortunately, it was their lifeless bodies in their pool of blood that they found. And this was, like I said, a day before the election. So the case is being treated as a case of homicide. However, as investigation progresses, we will get into more detail and know the motive behind that very particular incident. But it is wrong that it's election related.
Now, what about, because our correspondent just told us now that there was this election violence in Otokpo, precisely Okete Council ward. I don't know if you've, the police have gotten information concerning this, where also houses were burnt.
For now, I don't have any situation report to that effect. We have even made inquiries, and the situation report is that, you know, no such incident has come to the knowledge of the police.
But you've gotten report of ballot boxes being snatched?
This was the same case we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, some ad hoc staff were taken, I should say, taken hostage or even kidnapped. But you know, we are working with civilians. We've been doing something about it. We have our own method of tracking and, you know, trying to get to solve some of these problems or investigate or get to the root of it. Unfortunately, the REC has already put it on air that we are trying to track. Well, beyond that, we know what's and we will still get at the bottom of that incident.
John Ode, let me ask you, you were on ground all through this election as an observer.
Yeah.
What did you observe?
Okay, from yesterday's election, well, the first thing we observed, you know, I was there before 8 o'clock, and I observed that all INEC officials were on ground, all election materials were on ground, and election started at exactly 8 o'clock. But what we did not see on ground was the armed men, the security personnel, who were at the presidential election, who were supposed to be on ground, but not in the polling units.
You mean they were on ground during the presidential election?
Yes, they were on
armed
ground.
men?
Yes, but they were far away from the polling units.
Okay,
far away. They were far away from the polling
units. Their presence.
Yes, you could sense their presence.
Okay.
But this time, they were not on ground. So the youths wanted to leverage on this. And then we even had an incident of one of the a group of youths coming to snatch ballot boxes. But security personnel, unarmed, who were at each polling point, now approached one of the youths and then spoke to the youth. I was not there, but I was watching from afar. I spoke to the youth and then involved some elders. And in that course of doing that, a policeman unarmed was harassed. And immediately I saw that everything was not going down the way it was supposed to be. I immediately called the situation room. When I called the situation room, and another security personnel now called for reinforcement, of which the reinforcement later came. The armed men later came, and then they arrested the situation, and the youths now went. And at the end of everything, we had a peaceful election. Yes. But there's another one I observed. There were invalid votes this time. Yes, because they were sensitized. I think the two corrections from the previous elections, and then they had a good election.
Okay, were reduced.
It was reduced, yes.
The void votes
were
void votes this time around. Now, let's look at the credibility of the election and the legitimacy of it, because if we say the turnout was not too impressive, and for instance, having just like 20% turning up to vote, to cast their ballots during the election, and you as a leader, I mean, how do you feel, Dr. Bo?
Well, I think the point here is simple. The law talks about substantial compliance, which means it anticipates that you could have low levels of turnout at certain moments. And therefore, they have pegged some level of attendance or participation that should qualify for legitimate elections. And we don't have good statistics to make a declaratory statement on that. But I think that the level of participation has not dipped to a level where it would legitimize the process. Having said that, the problem is it demoralizes one anytime you hear about ballot box snatching, shooting, showing some level of desperation at the expense of human lives. The worry is not just for the incident itself. It's because it's a record that has refused to break. And then you ask yourself, you've been electing people every 4 years. These are not new problems. They are old to go away. And then we have leaders who every year promise us, when we come in, we are going to solve this problem. So the question is, are they being honest to themselves and to the country? What are those challenges that has refused to go away? Why are they presenting themselves as incapable of solving problems? Now, we have just heard that even before elections, there were attacks. During elections, there were attacks. After elections, there were attacks. So the entire process has been compromised. It gives a poor image about our country and ourselves. It shows that we can resolve our problems. Now, the point is, at the end of the exercise, those who have won may not see the need to sit back and chart a genuine and honest course and take very difficult decisions that will change the system. Even in times of prosecution, sadly, most times, you can just they select who to prosecute. This is reality. This is what we're living with. And you cannot resolve challenges like this when you are selective in terms of applying the rules of the game. When your rule of law is selective, that means it's no longer rule of law. So my worry and my caution here is that if we truly want to reflect the flag of Nigeria, the flag symbolizes the entire country, not an individual. And that is why in America, for instance, sometimes the FIB, the secretaries disagree with Trump, who is the president, because the flag is beyond the president himself. So I'm waiting to see a time in this country when people who are appointed and given responsibilities, we see to it that even those at the top comply with what they do in order to move this country forward. And until we begin to do that, nothing will change here.
Until we begin to do that, nothing is likely to change. But the DIG, let me ask you this question. The perpetrators of these violence, and have you been able to apprehend any for us to say probably they will be able to face the wrath of the law?
Well, yes. In Otupo that you mentioned, the returning officer said he was compelled to announce the results. And an individual has been arrested already. And the man has returned to Makurdi.
Okay, he was compelled to announce the results.
Yes, in Otupo.
Weren't there security personnel there?
Those are the things that we will find out.
Because, I mean, I guess that was why additional police personnel were drafted, deployed to Benue State.
Like one of my co-panelists mentioned just now, Mr. Ude said, that there was going to be some problem somewhere, and they called for backup, and police responded. And as soon as police responded, that issue was resolved. There were so many incidents like that. You know that people will always want to do the wrong thing. But like I said, I mean, one thing is, once there is a suitable target for a criminal, and there is no capable guardian. And of course, these people have been motivated by these desperate politicians. So we already have people that are motivated to commit crime. If there is no capable guardian and the target is there, once this triangle is completed, we will have crime, which is this election infraction. So the thing is that you could have one or two places, perhaps as a result of distance or whatever, or even network. Like I know of an incident around the Nigerian-Cameroonian border, where it was the inability to get network, to get police to respond at a time that led to the snatching of the ballot box, because they just could not communicate. So that you may not rule out one or two incidents like that.
And that calls to question the workability of the various security agencies on ground, because we know that the army is on ground, the Civil Defense Corps is there, customs is there, immigration is there. How are you working together? Because if the time to call for backup is like forever, I mean, you're supposed to coordinate it's the police that is coordinating, right?
Of course.
Yes.
I just mentioned it now. There are places where they call for backup. They got us on time. We responded. The issues were resolved. Even where you had the burning of the ballots, ballot materials.
Yes.
We responded. That was why the whole one, they didn't burn the whole thing.
Okay.
So, but no human operation is foolproof or 100%. Perhaps the people that were there at that time responded to another issue too. Even when people want to create problem, they could create problem in several places.
So as at now, you have only been able to apprehend just one.
We have been able to apprehend one
of all the crises.
It's not of all the crises. How many of the crises?
We have in Otokbo, we have in 4 local governments, we have in Okete Council, we have attacks of snatching of boxes.
The crisis that we mentioned,
local government.
The crisis that we have mentioned, I have detailed how we have responded to each one.
But you've not been able to, just one person for now?
Well, for now we have been able to arrest just one person.
Okay. Before we continue, let's just take this, let's look at this report. Counting of votes has been concluded at most polling units, while collation of results was ongoing at some polling stations in part of the state. Godwin Enalego visited some polling centers in Makadi, and this is what he has brought back.
This is Makudi Central South polling unit. Counting has been completed, though the presiding officer at this polling unit declined comment. There is an agent who is ready to speak with NTA. Please, how was it here?
The elections here was beautiful. You can see we're done with the counting, and everything went successfully without any complaint. There was no trouble.
We observed a very peaceful atmosphere, and everything went all well.
Where I am now is the Collation Center for Makudi Clark Ward, and as you can see, results have started coming in. Now, let us go to the collation officer at this unit to see how many results have been collected so far.
7 polling units have reported with their results for collation.
The votes have been casted, results have been turned in. We are at the collation center right now where we're trying to ascertain and properly fill out result sheets.
Sorting and counting was done smoothly. It has been perfect. The only thing that I know, people have not actually, the turnout has been very low.
The governorship and state houses of assembly elections were believed to be hitch-free in Makudi, the Benue state capital. It's back to the studio for continuation of Nigeria Decides.
Thank you very much. We also have this report from Achigili Magaji. Says former Senate President David Mark commends INEC for smooth conduct of the elections. Chigili Magaji also spoke with the Deputy Governor, Benson Abono, on the...
So far from what I've seen, I think it's quite peaceful, very orderly, and I think it's precisely what we want. On an election day, people should come and cast their vote and allow the process to take its proper form.
Everywhere else is calm, and the process is a lot better than 2 weeks ago, in the sense that it is a lot faster. Most of the card readers are functioning well today, unlike the other time, and people are not unduly wasting time.
Okay, we have seen the electorate and some of the observers saying that the situation generally, besides all these pockets of violence here and there, was very, very peaceful. But how would you rate the participation of the youth in this election? John Ode.
Well, the participation of the youths in this election, they've been very, very active in playing different kind of roles, of course, because some youths came in peace and others came to do maybe what they received from the desperate politicians to come disrupt the elections like that. So youths are very, very vital when it comes to doing things that are when it comes to doing things like this election. Youths are very, very vital because youths help you to campaign, youths help you to do some other things. So, but the one I witnessed standing in groups, and then there were some even saying, no, we shouldn't vote until we see something, and like that. So when you observe such things, what kind of youths do we have today? We make ourselves, the kind of things we do or the kind of things we are compelled to do always tell people to talk negative about us. I think, but from my own view, what I should say to youths is just for them to let them coordinate themselves and have a positive motive, and then also have a focus to whatever they want to do, they are called up to do.
Okay, from what he has said, Dr. Bo, just like the youths want to be induced before they perform their civic responsibility. What could be responsible for this low turnout and the participation of the youths? Some people have argued that because some of them perceive that this election might be a little bit more volatile than the one we had 2 weeks ago. So that could discourage them, or the presence of, the military and the security personnel could also be responsible. What, in your own, assertion, or could be responsible for this?
Well, let me start by saying that when you set your standards and they are low, your performance will reflect your standards you have set for yourself. And that is why, from what I've heard, even in this discussion, when you have pockets of attacks in the process, and you have been able to arrest one person almost 48 hours after, and indeed more than 72 hours before and after, it raises some questions. But then why I will not go further on that is because there are logistic problems that the securities face. They have personnel challenges. Those are things we know. And therefore, I wouldn't query their certain low standards for themselves. Having said that, then the issue of youths. You elect people because you believe they will change the system positively. And before these elections, the rhetorics we heard, both on the mass media and then even in rumor mills, was that there are planned attacks, either to disrupt the or some other forms of attacks, or the presence of armed security men. All of these fuel a lot of dissatisfaction and fear. Don't forget, we are dealing with a society that is traumatized. This is an environment where attacks have been repeated, and they are continuous. Yes. They are rampant. And there's a traumatic experience that people have faced over the years. And so any mention, any semblance of any threats, potential threats, will scare people. And that substantially affected the turnout in this election. I think then it's a call for government to take a proactive action, because we can't be living in cycles like this. You can't have a society that is under attack for 3-4 years and you don't find a solution. It shouldn't happen. It should not happen. And I hope that it will not happen, or it will be stopped very soon. So I think that, having said that, the other element is that we have monetized the process to a level where, when we do not see the dividends of democracy as we expect to see, then we fall back on the little that we're going to get. Little, better little than nothing. The question they ask, infrastructure, that's what they call. But the question the youth will ask, some of them ask themselves, although they do not see beyond today, and if in 4 years you are not going to have water, you're not going to have improved electricity, you are going to have a better road in your village, you're not going to have any other amenity. What if I have trust? Their actions will change the process if they really want to do so, by ensuring that people see the reasons and the motives why they wasted time and stayed in the sun and voted despite their late arrival in some cases. So I think that the youths, but what I have to say to the youth now is that it is a future they're trying to change. So if you are determined and worried about what you see, then you don't have to calculate in terms of what benefits we're going to get immediately. You should calculate in terms of how you are going to change the process so that your children will not suffer the consequences of what you are going through.
And their own future.
And their own future.
Which is
so I think that why I explain why they do so, I think their judgment has failed them. They should think positively and resist some of these things and even put pressure on those they elect to ensure that they do what they elect them to do. I think that is where we're also lacking.
Okay.
When we elect them, we go back to sleep. We don't put any pressures on them.
Okay. You have raised some issues there that probably why the security operatives have been able to apprehend just one of those perpetrators could be due to some challenges. What are these? Let me throw that question to the DIG Robodo. What are some of the challenges that you have encountered during these elections?
Well, let me correct an impression. The very fact that one person is arrested at Sotupo does not mean that it's only one person that has been arrested throughout this election. Okay. It doesn't follow. I refer to a specific incident. So, I mean, it is the collated situation report that will determine the total number of people that have been arrested. Okay. So, having said that, the usual challenges are new to Nigerians. The problem of mobility, the number of policemen, our staff strength, these are in the public domain. But now let me also say that, fine, during elections, we must, certainly we will collaborate with other security, the military and the other. But also, the country or the Nigerian state must also try to deliberately prepare the police for the elections or to even meet all the security challenges that we have. Fine, thank God, the present administration has the political will to do some things which we are beginning to see, like increasing police salary or adjusting it positively and all that, and giving us the leeway to recruit more policemen. Those are positive signs, but we need to be more strategic.
More strategic? As
a state, not necessarily, not referring to just the police. We must say election is coming in 4 years. How many voting points do we have? And then how many policemen do we have? What do we considering the level of violence in the country? What is the force that is enough to deter would-be troublemakers? Then we factor it into our planning.
Yes, I would want to ask Dr. Bo this question of when the leaders begin to see the leadership to the people, maybe this issue of violence will reduce. But before we comment on that, let's look at the democratic evolution in Benue. Political evolution. The 2019 general election is seen by many analysts as another impetus in the march towards entrenching sustainable democratic values and governance. Achigili Magaji examines the journey so far since the creation of the state.
Benue State, created in 1976 out of the Benue Plateau State structure, is located in north-central Nigeria. Named after the second biggest river in the country, River Benue, the state has two major tribes, the Thieves and the Idomas, as well as other smaller ones, but with rich cultural heritage. Though rich in mineral resources, the state is endowed with rich soil suitable for agriculture, hence its position in the food production index of the country. With 3 senatorial districts, 11 federal constituencies, 30 and 23 local government areas, the state has had its fair share of political experiences, which is not very different from what obtains in the country. For instance, during the military rule, the state was administered by military administrators till 1979, when Akwa became the first civilian governor till 1983. The military struck in 1983 and held sway till 1992, when the second civilian governor, Reverend Father Moses Adasu, came on board. The military interrupted again in 1993 and held power till 1999, when the present political dispensation took off. Then, George Akume, a former permanent secretary with the state civil service, won the elections and became governor till 2007, when Guber Suswam, a former legislator at the House of Representatives, took over and led the state till 2015, before handing over to Samuel Otum, the present governor. From the 70s till date, the dominant political parties have been the National Party of Nigeria, NPN, Nigeria's People's Party, NPP, the National Republican Convention, NRC, Social Democratic Party, SDP, and the Action Congress of Nigeria, ACN. Others are the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the All Progressive.
After this democratic experience, we have witnessed a lot of strides. Akwa is reputed to have brought a lot of developments to Benue in terms of infrastructure.
Since the commencement of the present political dispensation, the State House of Assembly has passed a total of 192 bills which have been signed into law.
If you look at the state assemblies in Benue State here, right from the 4th assembly where we are today, which is the 8th assembly, you will discover that most of the bills are not sponsored by individuals. Most of the bills are sponsored by the executive. And one thing again, I want to commend the legislature between 1999 and 2018 is because they have been able to carry out enough oversight functions.
Though political process in the state has largely been peaceful,
take from that democratic evolution package there. So we now, well, my director is signaling to me that we need to hand over to Abuja. But before we hand over, let me just allow the gentleman here to give a parting shots. And let me start from John Ode. What would be your advice? We are in the collation process now. What do you have to say? Just in 30 seconds.
Well, I'd like to say the results are coming in. And I would like to say that as they get these results, may they collate it and announce it immediately. And whoever has grievances about it, of course, there's a court of law for you there to go appeal of it.
Dr. Daniel Bo, what should be the response of the people, both the victor and probably the person that's...
They should put Nigeria first. And they should avoid any act that will compromise the integrity of this country and then the integrity of their even personalities, the integrity of their families, and of course compromise the development process. And having said that, in America, I recall that when Akwa was contesting for presidency, he wanted to shy away a little bit from the incumbent because he had some moral challenges, until we started running away from those who compromise on systems and try to show them that here Nigeria comes first. We're not going to move.
D.I.G. Wobodo, how secured is the collation center, and what assurance are you giving to the officers in charge?
Well, we will continue to provide security as usual.
do best what we know how to do, and we will ensure that the process of collation ends on a good note. I also want to say that, generally speaking, we should always think out of the box to solve our problems. Politicians, there are other ways of using youths. Yeah, all over the world, youth play a great role. Yeah. We even saw the role played by the youth in the re-election of our president and commander-in-chief. He's called them to thank them. The youth can play positive roles. It's not only by going to carry ballot boxes and all that. There are ways. Perhaps also, our election should also have a place for those who say no. In the French system, if you look at the ballot and nobody there, you don't think that anybody there can solve them, is capable. You press no for all of them. And at the end of the day, that's your vote still counts. Because the whole of that vote is now collated. And they know the total sum. You are going to have a rerun. In that way, the vote of even the system is not working. And the system that those who are there are not capable of solving the country's problem is reflected. We must begin to think of how to solve this problem. You cannot continue to do the same thing every time, the same way, and expect a different results.
Yeah. Thank you very much, D.I.J. Wobodo, for that advice. And well, that's the beat we can take from Makurdi, Nigeria Decides Studios. Now is back to you, Damasani Kudu.
Thank you so very much, Demola. Damasani is not Damasani here. I'm Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Our guests are still here. The line of silk is here. The barrister is here. And, of course, our politician, Ibrahim Modibo. There were pockets of violence in Benue State, according to the discussions there that we picked. One arrest, ballot snatching, and all that. Coming to you, Leonard Sake, what really constitutes an electoral offense under our laws? And when we look at Section 129 of the Electoral, what is ballot snatching? You can see it's a two-pronged question, but let's look at the electoral offense as a generic term. Yeah. What really constitutes that?
Well, I think broadly it's into 2 or 3 categories. That is one before registration of voters, where you present false name, false identity, false particular, or you try to mess up with the exercise. There are some offenses there that can be committed. Then on the election day, i.e. snatching, like you have identified, of ballot boxes, or trying to vote with the wrong name, or being disorderly at the polling unit, all listed under the Electoral Act. But asking specifically as what will constitute snatching of ballot box is interference with the specially made bag for ballot papers, either in the course of taking it to the collation center or right at the polling unit, or in the course of these 2 places. So interference with the desire to dispossess the election management body from using it the way it ought to. That will constitute ballot snatching.
And in this case, who is it, must the police get a directive from an INEC official before they apprehend persons that they are alleged to have done the snatching?
Even individuals can arrest.
Because several ballot box snatches took place in Benue, but the police DIG or AIG is telling us that only 1 arrest was made.
Okay, there may be some laxities here and there, but even individual citizens, if you see somebody committing a crime, that is not a... So once somebody is seen trying to tamper with ballot boxes or ballot box, the security agencies are empowered to arrest such a person.
So now still with the Lana Silk, what is the sanction of the commission of such crimes?
I think the Electoral Act has prescribed 2 years imprisonment, no option of fine.
Wow.
When you snatch ballot boxes and whatever. It's 2 years imprisonment without an option of fine. I believe I'm right.
Barrister, yes. Any comments? Or are your thoughts aligning with the Leonard Silk?
Yes, the Leonard Silk is my boss, and the only thing is I will compliment his position because one thing leads to another. You cannot just get ballot box snatching on its own, just like that, in a cold water. In most cases, the process of ballot box snatching leads to committal of so many other crimes. For example, somebody that wants to go into ballot box snatching will have to get himself armed first. You don't just go into ballot box snatching without anything. You have to go armed, probably carrying some weapons or some guns or whatever, which in itself is a very serious offense. So going there, carrying some people, you are committing thuggery itself. Section 81 of the Electoral Act. Going with weapons, you are committing another offense, 92 of the Electoral Act. Going there, taking the distance away from it.
They can be charged for terrorism.
Yes, it can even lead into the committal of terrorism as per, like I said, Section 2, subsection 1 of the Anti-Terrorism Act of Nigeria. It can be charged as a terrorist act, where as a result of that, you cause unnecessary pandemonium into the environment, as a result of which those standing within the 300 meters radius that are asked to stay away can get the distance to come in. And then you can, it can even lead in the process of you running away and refusing to respect the order of the constituted authorities. You can commit other crimes, like I said. A pregnant woman that is due to deliver, you can push her away, kill her, kill the person she is carrying along, going away with the election materials, and so many other crimes can be committed generally. So what is important, like the Lanex Silk says, is that once a crime is at its own smallest level, it should be nipped down. The police are there. Your purpose of being there is to utilize the power. Like I said, under Section 4 of the Police Act of 2004, Section 24 under the Police Act, for example, says that you can immediately arrest as a police officer. Even as a civilian, you can arrest and hand over to authorities. But as a police officer, you can arrest even if you don't have any warrant. And similarly, under Section 29, when you arrest, you can detain him there and then call for reinforcement. And under Section So coordination of the whole exercise in the national interest is what is important. If we are relying on, say, the Electoral Act predicates the superintendent of the security matters on INEC, then we will not get it right, because INEC do not have police personnel, they don't have military personnel. So INEC will not be able to enforce Section 29 or Section 3 of the Electoral Act. You need the support of everybody on board so that it will be a collective teamwork for national development. Immediately when the decision happens, even if you are not a police officer, but you are among the law enforcement agents or election officials, you can assist by calling the relevant police officer to come and give support. Otherwise, if you wait there, these people perpetrating the violence can come in higher number than your own number, and all of you will be victims, not just the police officer only. So it should be a collective.
Maybe that was the case in Oyo that led to the loss of life of the honorable member from the House of Representatives.
Exactly, it can be possible because no, that of Oyo can even be disregard to the flagrant disregard to the order of the Inspector General of Police, who said that the patrol vehicles should be deployed, patrol teams should be deployed in all the districts, knowing the sensitivity of the southwestern state. Like I said, what did I say? The other time.
You call them the Wild Wild West.
Yes, the Wild Wild West. You understand? Right from before independence up to independence time, they are known about that character when it comes to issue of political electioneering. So as a result of which, we should know, that is the reason why you have delineation of flashpoints, so that those areas you should be able to give watertight security architecture that will be able to...
Now Ibrahim, as a politician, the barrister and the learned silk have told us what constitutes ballot box snatching, the sanctions for commission of such offenses. Do you think the Electoral Act and the Constitution, or the provisions of the Constitution, are enough? As a politician, what other thing do you think should be done? Do we go for some, if you like, amendments in the coming 9th Assembly to further maybe strengthen the laws?
You see, using any parameter of democratic practice, it is a common norm, grand norm in democratic cycles that snatching of ballot box is an aberration. It is something that is not within the confines of the law. Are the laws sufficient? The laws are not sufficient. Units. Make sure that the votes of Nigerian masses count. The votes of the people count. He was not talking in vacuum because he knew what was happening. There are politicians in this country that have never won election free and fair. The modus operandi of them winning elections is through dubious means of cutting away ballot boxes and declaring fake results. So, having known this, as a person that believes in sanctity and integrity of the ballot box, he believes that law and order should be maintained. But I don't know why the security agencies were so passive. If I have a presidential order that, look, if I have seen somebody come with a gun or with anything to come and harass people and take over these ballot boxes, why can't I respond appropriately? At least, there should be balance of terror. If, as a ballot box snatcher, if you feel you can come and intimidate people, you should also have a matching order from the security agencies. Let them destabilize you too. So, the moment we don't do that, and then secondly, you see, we are paying lip service to law and order. Because in the Constitution, it has been variously quoted by the Lana Silk and Mainasara. You know, Mainasara is a compendium of quotation of the Constitution. So, if you are always having that in law, that look, if there's any ballot box snatching, maybe is it 2 years, they said there is an attraction of the listing, or you pay, because they will tell you either or. It's either you go for 2 years in prison or you pay 50,000. So people, they don't care. They better pay the money, cut away the ballot box. Some are not even cutting away the ballot box because they know they will benefit directly. No, what they do is, if they know that you have a stronghold, while you have a lot of people, they'll wait till your boxes are filled. They'll go and cut them away and destroy. So, when they know...
So that the votes of that polling unit will not count.
Exactly, it will not count. So, they will just make sure that they cut the box until the box gets filled, and they go and declare result. It is an aberration. It is tampering with the sanctity of the ballot box. And therefore, I strongly believe there is the need for us to have law and order. If it is possible, that the National Assembly should come in with new orders based on the thinking and the focus of Mr. President. Because the President has, right from day one, he said he would like to lay a fertile ground for rule of law to strive and also to open the political field for mass participation. Entrenchment of Constitution and mass participation of democrats of conscience, especially, of Nigerians. So therefore, we should think along the line of improving our electoral system. The days of us having electoral malpractices, winning either by hook or crook, stealing ballot boxes, cutting them away by thugs, I think it should be over. And also, I want the military, the police, they have been given order by the president. I don't know, I have not heard anywhere where the police have executed that law. The president said, look, use minimum force or use appropriate force to take care of the ballot boxes. Use appropriately. He didn't say maximum, but use appropriate force. Therefore, when I see police holding batons, I always say, in every society, there is no how you can leave a policeman without a gun. Even if it's a police driver, he should be able to be armed. That is why in modern developed countries, you find the police having a walkie-talkie. He's having all the gadgets, electronic gadgets, and he must be aided with a weapon. But you're taking people to electoral venues. If you're going to go for these elections, you must have a gun. Because that gun, even if you don't use it, it will frighten a lot of rogues that will cut away ballot boxes. Otherwise, the whole this thing is just a mere academic exercise.
Well, let's go to this other issue, Leonard's sake. In line with Section 285 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, what is the time lag for a petition to get to delivery of judgment at the tribunal, at the appeal court, and then at the Supreme Court? Because very soon we will go into that area.
Yeah, under the Section 285, yes, the first tribunal has 180 days.
180 days?
80 days.
To conclude everything?
Yes, to listen to, conclude, and deliver judgment. Then the appeal court has 60 days from the date the appeal is filed. And that is in respect of National Assembly, State Assembly.
And governorship?
No, governorship can go up to Supreme Court.
Okay.
State Assembly and, let me say, parliamentary election, they all terminate at Court of Appeal.
Okay, yeah.
Be it House of Assembly, House of Rep, and Senate.
And it has to be within 60 days?
Within 60 days. Then in the case of governorship and presidential, it's also 60 days whenever it gets to the Supreme Court.
So it can stay 60 days at the appeal court and then another 60 at the Supreme Court?
At the Supreme Court. So making a total of...
another 180 days?
Well, it's 180, 60, 60. Maximum. That is the maximum.
I see. So all in all, about 360 days. The time of the person who is on seat will only be, may even be about finishing before the case is
no,
discharged.
that is no longer possible.
Okay.
Because with the timelines is to cure that mischief of remaining in the office till close to your tenure before your petition is finally determined, and therefore rendering the exercise a very futile one. Like Ngige spent almost 3 years in office. Over 3 years he spent before he was eventually removed by the Court of Appeal. So, but now, you do not have more than cumulatively 180 plus 60 plus 60. 180 days plus another 120 days, making 300 days.
In less than 1 year.
More than 1 year. For everything to be concluded, no matter what.
Yeah, I know the Leonard barrister will say he goes with the Leonard sick, but all the same, what are your comments?
It's all right, just it's 10 months. Everything exclusively to be finished within 10 months. You understand? That is it. The other area I would like to comment regarding the areas needing legislation. You need something very, very important came, which will have been a panacea to all these problems we are seeing. This Election Offences Commission or Elections Offences Tribunal, for the benefit of the politicians kicked against it.
I think it was a recommendation of Justice Ways. Yes. Yeah, and again, even the observers, foreign and domestic, came up with that recommendation again after the 2015
Yes,
election.
it was even presented before the National Assembly as a bill. This 8th Assembly. I pray that the 9th National Assembly will give it expeditious consideration so that it should be among the distance we will see. Because if we leave it the way it is now, I don't see any the other part, they will be waiting for INE's guidance. Section 218, for example, is talking about the commanding authority on the president regarding other this. So you have it like that, but then you have an institutional mechanism that will be handling this thing. Even before the election, that tribunal or commission or whatever nomenclature you may give it will be able to curtail so many of these happenings, and you will be able to be seen practical infliction of sanctions on whosoever is committing any.
And maybe the tribunal may also have powers to look into this lack of internal democracy within political parties.
Well, it depends on what the framers of the legislation will come out with. It depends, but it is a very good advice. They should take care of all those things, because definitely speaking, what we saw during the party primaries is an aberration on the essence of the sanctity of ethics in political parties, as provided by Section 221 to 229 of the Constitution, on the way parties should conduct themselves in decorum. We didn't see internal party discipline, party democracy. So it would be very good idea.
Let's hear from the politician, the Election Offences Tribunal. What are your take? The Election Offences Tribunal. Somehow the 8th Assembly did not pass it as part of provisions that will have emanated to become part of the Electoral Act as amended.
Yes, I haven't heard from the lawyers, the Lana Silk and barrister, on this 300 days. I think it's a matter of about 300 days, because 180 plus 120, it gives you about 300. Now, the question that has been raging in my mind is, what happens to all these injunctions, this ex parte, all these gimmicks of lawyers? Because that is where the problem comes. Lawyers, they know English too much. When they come to court, this one will raise point of objection, this one will raise this one will bring ex parte. You say no, challenge the legality. Yes, challenge the legality of even the ballot paper, whether it is fake or is printed in return. They will start challenging. So how do we curtail some of these problems?
No, I think the question we should ask them is, this 300 days, is it within these 300 days that you will have those adjustments or adjournments?
Everything.
In fact, now you will not even have those problems. Because the ACJA, Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which came into board 2015, has adequately taken care of all these things.
Haji Muhammad, you see, the beauty of Nigerian, or the beauty of lawyers, is that they have grammar. Honestly, this could only be a mere paperwork, but when it comes to practicality, because I have been in the system. In 2003, if you ask Mike Ahamba, senior advocate of Nigeria, we pursued President Muhammadu Buhari's legal decision. I was a principal witness. In 2007, the same thing. It took over to get it to 3 years before we even got judgment.
And that is why the amendment has now come.
The ACJA Act,
and it has now said, look, no matter what you want to do, 180 days at the tribunal, 60 days in the Court of Appeal, and 60 days in the Supreme Court.
Maximum
and the same thing applies to pre-election matters. When you file a pre-election matter, maybe you have a dispute within your party, and somebody has tried to violate guidelines or what have you, and you take the party or your fellow contestant to court.
Lana Sig, I'm sorry, I may have to, I'm not stopping you, but we may have to put a stop to this discussion for now, and because we have suspended for now, and I will want to use this opportunity to thank Ahmed Raji, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, legal practitioner, Lana Sik, for your time, Barrister Manesara Kogo Umar, International Analyst and Democracy, Good Governance and Nation Building, and of course, a learned barrister. Thank you so much for all your time. You've been here since 6 a.m. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
For the contributions you have made to Nigeria Decides and to Nigeria's democracy.
Thank you.
One person we also appreciate is a fellow media practitioner, a colleague, a senior journalist, and public affairs analyst, a politician, Ibrahim Modibo. Thank you so much for your time and your contributions. And like I said, the Nigeria Decides studio is standing down. It will reopen later. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. See you again next time. Thank you.
Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
I tell you, man, music is the most powerful force for this world. As better jam, they flow, and so everybody with the feel and the rocker. You know, as a musician, I see this thing every time I do stage perform. You know, everybody does a scatter body. You know, even when you bought yourself with the form, that's where they feel like say, not if you touch yourself. Before you know, music don't they move there, they don't enter that side. You know, that time it don't matter which political party where you did or the person where you support. It don't matter. So why it no fit be the same on election day? Why we no fit just go jelly go vote without throwing blow, throwing stone, carry stick, carry machete, curse everybody? So just remember, say after all the political wahala and the brouhaha finish, we go still go back with the rock correct music together.
Culture can be defined as the beliefs, values, behavior, and material objects that constitute a people's way of life. It can also be described as the arts, customs, and habits that characterize a particular society or nation. These lend credence to the celebration of Udiroko Festival celebrated by Ado-Ekiti people. It is the only festival, according to tradition, that brings all Ado citizens, both at home and in diaspora, together. Udiroko Festival was established around 1310 AD during the reign of Oba Awamaro, the first Ewi of present-day Ado-Ekiti. The celebration marks the first day of a new traditional calendar year for Ado-Ekiti inhabitants. History and legends has it that the people of ancient Ado-Ekiti will assemble under Iroko tree in front of Ewi's palace to welcome the military chiefs with joyous traditional songs. The assemblage of people under Iroko tree at Ewi's palace on Olorunborun Day later became Odun Udiroko or Udiroko Festival. The current Ewi of Ado-Ekiti is Royal Majesty Alayelua Oba Dr. Rufus Adeyemo Adejugbe Aladesanmi III, CON JP, is the 28th Ewi to ascend the throne of his fathers. Oba Rufus Adeyemo Adejugbe Aladesanmi's reign has brought pomp and glamour to the Udiroko Festival celebration since his 26th reign as Ewi of Ado-Ekiti. Udiroko Festival has been upgraded with a special touch and creativity, thereby making the festival ranked same in class as other traditional festivals like Ojidioba in Ogun State, Osun Osogbo Festival in Osun State, Argungu Fishing Festival in Kebbi State, and other festivals celebrated in Nigeria. At this year's edition of Udiroko Festival, held at the Palace of Ewi of Ado-Ekiti, the event kicked off with arrival and display of traditional crowns of the monarch. The Ewi later ascend the throne amidst adulation and joyous shouts. It was the turn of the Oloris, led by Eyeshorun Abosede Adejugbe Aladesanmi III, JP, to pay homage to the monarch as they filed out one after the other with a special and symbolic drums which are beaten once in a year. The chiefs, heads of different quarters, princes and princesses and political office holders also took turn to felicitate and pay allegiance to the Ewi.
It represents what they also represent: culture, coming together, association, about development, progress. I only urge Ewi to continue this kind of from year in year, and to also see a way that it can be linked nationwide, so that people like me that have benefited from experiencing this kind of practice will come around and see.
And you only need to look across the thousands of people here and the joy and the expression, which shows that they are indeed very, very pleased to be here. On my part, I believe what we are seeing here is something that the entire country should learn when the people are united in honoring their customs and traditions.
To further strengthen the bond of unity in Nigeria, various ethnic groups that reside in Ado-Ekiti had their traditional mode of entertainment to felicitate with the Ewi, while others pay tribute to the king and attest to his unique style of ruling and hospitality of Ado-Ekiti and indeed Ekiti people in general.
The culture of Ado-Ekiti is not after all about hostility, but about hospitality. The culture of Ado-Ekiti is about tolerance, about involvement. It encompasses everybody. Here to appreciate Ado-Ekiti and our Ewi.
There is good understanding between us. That is why whenever they are doing anything traditional or political, we are ready to participate.
The indigenes and the entire crowd listen attentively as the monarch, His Royal Majesty Oba Dr. Rufus Adejugbe Aladesanmi III, gave speech from the throne where he highlighted the aspirations, achievements and developments that the town has witnessed in the previous year and outlook for the coming traditional calendar year.
The mono economy of oil is becoming unreliable to sufficiently sustain the government's expenditure is taking care of the recurrent capital expenditure and other expenses in the country today. Government will support our people by assisting them monetarily and providing other logistics for the youths and other segments of populace to boost agriculture.
It is noteworthy to emphasize that Ado-Ekiti became state capital during his reign as Ewi of Ado-Ekiti.
Yes. One day as I did dab, they go. Now I see my neighbor on top electric pole. Don't be how my hold so. Before. So? Climb every day. Come on electric bill. You not gree pay.
Waiting concern you for there. I beg you. Come over here.
Okay, oh. I don't talk my own. As I dab reach house. Yay! Fire! Fire! My brand new flat screen.
Hold up.
Waiting concern you for there. I beg you. Come over here.
Government property, now my property. If you don't come down now, I go report.
Don't be only report. Now report card.
dab 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 dab. Yes.
So, how do I look, guys?
Aha! I see what's wrong.
What?
The wall doesn't match your elegance.
Then we must do something about it right away.
At Royal Ceramics, we offer you a wide range of beautiful wall and floor tiles designed specially to fit your lifestyle.
So, what do you guys think?
Thank goodness we changed to Royal Ceramic tiles.
I agree.
Like mother, like daughter.
Royal Ceramics, finish in style.
Hey, big head. Sorry. Where are you?
I'm at the bus stop.
Okay, dinner is ready and mommy wants you to come home.
Okay, I'm coming as soon as I get a bus.
The beauty of democracy rests in the power the system has given to the teeming population to elect an eligible candidate of their choice for any political office. But the right to vote is not a license to kill. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people, where majority carries the vote. It is not a do-or-die affair. Say no to violence. Your weapon at the poll is your permanent voter's card, not a dagger. Your future is in your hands. You have the right to leave. Don't cause trouble. Vote wisely.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news Don't create it. Don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link. And be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
You don't do. I don't tire for all the things where you do yarn.
Lord, don't be right.
You the yarn no pata. Shey you think say na only you fit buga? I go show you.
This matter don't pass, be careful.
You dey show yourself all these years. I just dey look you. This time, you go know the kind of person we are.
I've been the watch as you dey try scatter my future.
The future where I dey try
organize for myself.
Small. Na him you dey try kill abi?
Not to kill, scatter, and destroy my pearls always do your agenda, abi? Oh, but you know, Fito, not this time.
I don't set my own agenda.
I know how way your agenda go fit past my agenda.
Because my agenda strong past your agenda.
For this election, the agenda now.
It's our future.
No violence.
Just vote.
Set the agenda for this election. No violence, just vote. Slavery is an evil practice